election coverage? Forget this panel. Who cares about this? I want to see a shot of The Undertaker from the Underworld. Can I see it? The Hunger Games! There it is! We're in the middle of the Hunger Games!
Reporting for duty.
All right. Oh, it's a good thing he's not on an Unger strike.
And I mean duty spelled D-O-O-D-Y.
All right. So, Brian, look, we got a lot to do in this hour. I'm going to tell you about the protest that we're doing.
We got a lot to do. It's so made up. Like, we're literally vamping until polls close. But we're framing it. We got a lot to
papers and graphics.
No, are you kidding me? There's so many great stories in the so-called real show, like 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, not real, regular show, our regular time, right? I have so many stories, I don't think we're going to get through them. There was this story today. I'm just going to do it right now.
Don't spoil it.
Okay. Trump said that he loves his kids, Ivanka, Donald Jr., Eric, and Tiffany to a lesser extent.
No, he didn't.
He said it!
Did he really
I swear to God he said it.
No,
okay.
You say he said one of them he loves to a lesser extent. Tune in at 3 to find out which.
I'm going to leave you in suspense.
Is Tiffany the daughter of Marla Maples?
Yes.
That's right.
And Tiffany is the one who did not kiss him at the convention.
Yes.
That's right.
That explains everything.
But
At the debate.
there is strife
You're
there.
right. Yeah.
And where has Marla Maples been throughout this entire campaign?
Yeah, another good question. Maybe she's been on an Hunger strike.
She has been sworn to that she's abiding by her non-disclosure, non-compete, can't talk, cannot comment.
That would be
agreement.
hilarious if there was a non-compete in a marriage document. No, really. If we get divorced, you cannot marry any other megalomaniac, fake billionaire real estate developer in New York.
Okay, just for the record, he said it in the context of the work they've done on the campaign. I'm very proud because Don and Eric and Ivanka, and to a lesser extent because she just got out of school, out of college. But Tiffany is also.
Oh, to a lesser extent.
Thanks for keeping him honest, Ben.
So once again, it's
vote Trump.
inartful ability to express himself.
Okay, I read things really quickly in the 1 hour break that I had, okay? All right? Get off my ass! Now Brian's going to do this awesome thing just for the members, which is amazing in a little bit, tytnetwork.com/join. Like these nightmare scenarios. Him and Ida Rodriguez, it's an awesome combo. Maybe we should do a show like that. Okay. But before you go do that, give me first, and in this hour, we're going to do Senate races and how things are going. Is Rice Feingold going to win? I'm in a heart attack over that. Okay. Like this election. Insanity. Give me your general thoughts on it first.
I think that the word is, and this word has been applied to just about every segment of our culture this year, disruption. Disruption of the political process, disruption of the journalistic process, disruption of the religious. Everything has been disrupted. Whether Trump had any foresight into that, I doubt it, but I just think we are in a revolution that is going on in each segment of our culture, and technology is driving it. The media is, everyone needs to redefine their paradigm, and I just don't know what Wednesday is going to end. I think it's the beginning of something much bigger than any of us really thinks. There's no real return to a status quo.
God, I love that. I think that is 1,000% right. But the only problem is, Brian, you're going to get me to stop saying people don't get it, because I think people are increasingly getting it. Now, I know you're part of us and Rebel headquarters and strong, but I remember the days when strong progressives didn't often get it, right? But I really think that we're in the middle of a disruption, the likes of which we haven't seen before. So, we already had the Golden Dawn in Greece, which is right wing, but we also had I
think Golden Dawn was Die Hard.
No, it was it was Die Harder.
No.
Golden Dawn.
It was Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. Oh, I see. And then we had the far left party, which actually took power in Greece. We've had the far right parties take power in Eastern Europe. Everybody's saying, and we've been talking about it. Yeah, we've been talking about it here for the whole week. Throw a brick through the establishment window. We don't care what happens. Then, of course, I think the shot heard across the world was Brexit. And so there was worries that this election was going to be our Brexit, maybe a Trexit. Okay, sorry.
Is there a studio audience I don't know about?
Have you trademarked that? Yeah. Is there a little R with a circle around it, or a TM, or something?
Let me pull a Jeb Bush here. Please clap. So anyway, but I think that Brian's 1,000% right. It's not just Trump. It's of course Bernie Sanders. More importantly, Bernie Sanders. And people keep saying like, well, Hillary Clinton got more votes in the primary, so I don't know what you guys are talking about. There's no real, uprising here. No, look, she did. I understand that. I thought they closed too many polling stations on Rhode Island, Arizona. We talked about that earlier. But she got more votes. I understand. Well, that's not the argument. The argument is a guy who almost no one in America knew outside of people who cared deeply about politics, who was the most liberal senator, who calls himself a socialist, rose up from almost nothing in the polls and closed a 60-point lead on a woman who has the biggest name recognition I've ever seen in politics, and the entire Democratic Party establishment behind her. If a guy like that,
unlimited money,
and if a guy like that can close the lead and get 46% of the vote, and then Trump beats 16 other Republicans, meanwhile, and Brian's right again on the broader point, it's not just politics. Look at what we're doing here, right? Right now, we talked earlier about how let's beat TV today, right? Let's get bigger people, more people watching us. And you got to understand something. Yes, tonight we probably will not pass CNN in concurrent live viewers, right? But we've already passed at least a quarter of the cable stations. So like that, in the old days, an online stream being larger than a cable show, inconceivable, unheard of, no way. If I showed you the graphs that I see business-wise, what's happening to TV, so above 65-year-olds are actually watching TV a little bit more, like 2% more. Everything else is below the line, below zero. And for 18 to 24-year-olds, the graph goes like this, boom, right? They lost 40% of their 18 to 24-year-old audience in 1 year.
ESPN just had its worst month ever for subscriber loss, and there's no reason to think that next month won't be as bad.
Yeah, and I think we can lay the blame squarely on Colin Kaepernick. On his knees.
John Idarola with a relevant sports reference. The pronunciation was right. Everything was great. You know he plays soccer. Well done.
Okay.
Real quick. So going back to politics being disrupted, in the last hour we had Nomiki Konst on the show, who is a political analyst, and she made a really good point about the DNC specifically and how the way the DNC operated during this election and the consequences that they paid as a result of that, I think is going to shake things up for them moving forward. There are certain things that they are not going to get away with doing in the future, right?
So, yeah, that's exactly right. And so that's why before Brian leaves, I wanted to ask you the next part of that question, right? So we can go on and on about all the disruption in different, arenas, but when it comes to politics, let's assume for a second here that Hillary Clinton, as the polling indicates, will win tonight. And I'm less certain of that than everyone else. And, the results start coming in at 6 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Eastern, and then the big one's 8 o'clock. We're going to cover that here for you. But let's assume Hillary Clinton wins, right? And after the election is called, we're going to have a lot of progressives on here. Adam Green, Robert Scheer. Oliver Stone wanted to join us. He sent me an apology note that he couldn't join you guys because he's in South America right now. He said, what a depressing election, but I can't wait to be with you guys in the next election. Julian Assange might join us later. Okay, so all those progressives, I want to ask you, Brian, what do you think happens next? If Hillary Clinton wins, do we just get, like you're saying, we're not going to go back to the normal, we're not going to go back to status quo, so what do you think happens?
I think she serves one term, and I think that, as you intimated earlier, I think we, ironically, are right back at Bernie Sanders. We come back to these same themes that are never really going to go away. I think they're here forever. This idea of an economy that benefits the most people at the same time. I think we're going to have to somehow make those ideas thrive with the right person who is in office. It may be mismatched at this moment, but I think she'll serve one term. I think that the field is wide open now for someone to come in and take those ideas that even Bernie Sanders' ideas and turn them into a right-wing cause. The idea of, because that's what we've seen, this topsy-turvy flip-flopping of political beliefs and value systems and allegiances are all kind of mixed up now in this giant potpourri of crap. And I think the field is wide open in 4 years, and someone could sweep in and...
So you mean she'll lose to a Republican, or she'll she won't even run again or challenged? I mean, obviously you don't know, but I mean,
I think
like
that
in your head, what's that?
In my head, the right Republican can beat her in 4 years.
Yes. So the thing that I think makes it really interesting is obviously whenever someone comes in and, as you say, disrupts things, we wonder, is this emblematic of a trend? Is this repeatable? And I definitely think that there could be another Bernie Sanders. I mean, I've said many times that it sucks that we have this once-in-a-lifetime possible candidate, Bernie Sanders, going against a once-in-a-lifetime representative of the Democratic establishment that the Democrats don't typically have. They don't typically have one candidate that everybody knows is likely to become the candidate. It's usually a more diverse field. And so it took the most supported establishment Democrat to fight off Bernie Sanders.
That's a very interesting way of looking at it.
But for 4 years from now and 8 years from now, there isn't another Hillary Clinton waiting in the wings. There isn't another obvious Bernie Sanders waiting in the wings other than possibly Elizabeth Warren. And I don't think she's as like Bernie as some people think. There's also not another Donald Trump waiting in the wings. I mean, there could be, but there are no obvious ones that we can point to and say, oh, in 4 years it'll be them. And all three of those people that I've mentioned are old people, and they won't necessarily be around in 4 or 8 years. In the same way.
I just want to give this quick coda, is that I see the journalism and electronic media will never, ever remedy itself, which gives much more value and places way more importance on what you are doing in here every day. Because I believe that train will never, ever slow down. It's only speeding up. Politics is driven by self-interest. News is driven by money. Or both are driven by self-interest and money. They're never, ever going to return to a more traditional journalism will never get back to its roots in reporting and purity. Thank you. So this right here will be crucial, critical. You will only grow. Look where you'll be in 4 years. My God, you'll be so important to the process. We don't know what the truth is anymore. We are so fractured. We don't know where to look. All of the fake news sites, all the groups that are creating news stories in our news streams that all look like they're the same, and everyone is basically choosing whatever truth they want to forge their identity. It will be critical that groups that like the Young Turks just continue to forge ahead. And I think we're in real trouble. I really do. I think we're in a new age, and Wednesday will be there's no resting on Wednesday, no matter what happens. I just think that it's incumbent upon media, someone in media, to keep just searching, digging, investigating, and now analyzing, doing the real work that journalism has stopped doing.
So I agree with you so thoroughly that I'm only going to add one small thing to it. I really think that that you're so right about the status quo is over. We're done with that. And I know that the establishment won't see it that way. And if Hillary Clinton prevails, they're going to want to go back to the good old days. Well, okay, we're back to sanity. Now let's get another Bush in here, and we'll go back to the same old games we've been playing. And they're not going to be able to. But I give that, and I think Hillary Clinton will get primaried from the left. And I think that, and I actually believe that an Elizabeth Warren type of person, not necessarily her, but someone like her, or maybe her, will come up and beat Hillary Clinton in the primaries. Because I think people are so tired of the establishment. They're gonna, if they do today, they're gonna hang on by their fingernails, and then that's it. But the reason why that's so important is because if you don't do that, it leaves the populist field to just the right wing. And that's a terrible idea, because populism is going to win. And so it should be the one from the left, not from the right. And to your point, Brian, Charles Krauthammer today talking on Fox News about how there's a civil war within the Republican Party, because are they going to go back to what conservatism meant? But, it was always a mirage. The voters actually never cared about, hey, let's do more trade deals. They never signed on to that. The Republican voters didn't do that, right? It's just what they were spoon-fed by the establishment, who gets paid by the same, multinational corporate interests, et cetera, whether it's in terms of advertising or it's in terms of campaign donations. All these assumptions about what a Republican meant. And Trump, turned that upside down. So what is the Republican Party after Trump, after today? No one knows. It's because it was a mirage in the first place. So once you break the status quo, there's a lot of things that are going to come out of that, and some are going to be great, right? Because we need that system broken, and some of them are going to be perilous.
Yeah.
So buckle up, everybody, for what's coming after this election. So don't forget the words of Brian Unger. Okay.
Yeah, and we. Nah, who gives a shit what I have to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
And who gives a
curious.
shit really what I said?
No, you were good. I don't. Also, like, just something occurred to me, like with Brian talking about how I wasn't listening totally, but he seemed angry.
Wow, didn't know he had that fire in him.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
No, but how media is never going to look the same and is never going back, and so and it's one of my small issues with this program here is that everything's different, but we still have a desk and we still put on jackets and ties and so forth. And
I even switched into a dress shirt.
You did. You switched to a dress
I feel
shirt.
like you guys should just do the show shirtless.
By the way, I'm
Keep
the
it classy.
only person right now with a tie, so that was pretty blatant.
But I just feel like that look is like what's coming. Like we
Brian's?
should. Like,
I've
yeah, because
actually
it's just
been
real.
sent here by Vice. I should dial down my enthusiasm and my passion and speak in a more monotone, inexperienced way. But with a veneer.
Right. Sure.
Ben, are you
I'm
suggesting
going
that
for
we
a
should
real
get some sun?
Williamsburg kind of passion right now. So maybe let me bring it down a little bit. But you guys know what I mean. We saw a transformative period in cable news and in all of news where money is just drive ratings. Money, it's so corrupt, so infected, it can never, ever get back. I wonder what it's like to work for these folks because you're now just a tool. You believe, if you're an anchor or if you're a reporter in this system, you are being encouraged day in and every minute of the day to keep singing the refrain, pushing the narrative. They are addicted to narrative. They are addicted to drama. They want you to stick around, constantly running out of time on a 24-hour clock. How is that possible?
Right, totally.
It just makes no sense, but they're constantly trying to get you to hang on to every quarter hour so they can keep driving up the ad rates. We're never going back. We're never
CNN
going
yesterday
back.
ran a ticker below of all the presidents, just in in order, and then Thomas Jefferson. And then James Madison, hey man, we got it, man.
Literally, there's nothing going on, so we have to.
We have to have something down there. We got it.
But the amazing thing is, there's a ton of things going on that they refuse to cover. And
No,
they think
there's something happening in North Dakota.
They will not cover
Go to
climate
North Dakota.
change. They will not cover what's happening in North Dakota.
Right.
They refuse to cover those issues because A, they think their audience is too dumb to understand or care about those issues, and B, they think that those issues won't do well with ratings, and finally, C, let's keep it real. I mean, you go after the same companies that are advertising on your network, you're going to lose those advertisers. So they say climate change isn't a sexy topic when the vast majority of Americans want to do something about climate change.
That's why you've got to drive the news, and if you're going to, you should probably rent with 6th rental car. All right, guys. All right. We got to let Brian go. So, but he's staying here for the members, okay? So while we talk about the dry Senate races, Brian's going to do some funny stuff with Ida Rodriguez at tytnetwork.com/join is how you join. And then you go to tytnetwork.com/members live to watch. Both streams will be going on at the same time. Pick your poison, okay? And if you aren't getting it for some reason, you just refresh. But calmly, everybody do it at different times. By the way, if anything breaks,
everybody
go to
refresh
Twitter.
At different times?
Because if everybody does it simultaneously, everything crumbles.
A tech
But
thing.
how do they know what other people are doing?
Okay, shush.
Half of you wait.
Which half?
The ones on this side now, the ones on this side wait.
At the Young Turks on Twitter. And Brian's also going to join us on the Young Turks on Fusion tomorrow.
Cannot wait. I'm so grateful that you asked me to come.
I'm super excited.
You guys are the smartest people in news. I'm so honored just to be here. So thank you.
Relax.
I disagree, but thank you. Let's keep this guy around.
No, I am drunk on Tier 3 basic cable money. I don't need the job or the exposure. I'm fine. So my kissing up actually means that I really do admire you all and appreciate it. Ben, what? Why? What?
No,
what?
I just think the way you're disrespecting of Tier 3 basic cable.
Okay, so Young Turks on Fusion tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern. Anna, John, and Brian will be doing the show and obviously analyzing what happened after the election. Thank you, Brian. We really, really, really appreciate it. All right, and he's going to join you guys in the members only in about 2 minutes, okay? So now, as I previously promised, dry Senate races. John, go.
Okay, I'll try to make it not quite so dry. So we're going to be starting off with North Carolina. I'm not going to prompt for the pictures. You can just throw them up whenever you want. Where we have Richard Burr going up against Deborah Ross. This is one of the most competitive Senate races in the country right now. The 538 estimate is 50.7%. Oh, sorry. No, actually, this is not one of the most competitive. 73.4% chance that Burr gets it. And the reason I think that's interesting in this particular case is that Richard Burr is the guy who not that long ago said, "Nothing made me feel better than seeing a magazine about rifles in a store with a picture of Hillary Clinton on it." And he said he was only disturbed because there wasn't a target over her face. And so this is what we've unleashed in this country, and he is likely, unless things shift massively. Now, North Carolina is a state where we don't know exactly how things are going to shake out. But in the past few sets of polls, he has generally been up by a few points, and that's considered...
She's almost never led.
Yeah.
But it's never been anything but close. So, if there's been some misreading of the polls, and if Latino turnout is bigger in North Carolina, and if Hillary wins it by more than we think and wins it, then she could carry Ross over the finish line with her.
This is one of the states, and this is going to be a common refrain throughout this. It's difficult to know because it's the end of an election, and most races do get tighter near the end of an election. But this is also one of the ones where just around the same exact time that Comey came out with his we might be reopening the case thing, a lot of Senate races suddenly in the next few days became much closer.
Almost directly at that day.
Exactly, and almost universally worse for the Democrats. So thank you to the FBI for that.
Can I just say on that couple of notes? One, that's why I read you guys the story from The Guardian yesterday where some agents that work inside the FBI said, hey, look, man, FBI is Trump land. So he said there's a lot of different opinions, of course. There's no love for Hillary Clinton in the building at all. But some people are really worried about Donald Trump, too. But the majority are Trump supporters. Mm-hmm. So they keep pushing and pushing and pushing for Comey to say things about Hillary Clinton. And as we saw, it was unjustified. The thing he did 11 days before the election where he said, oh, my God, there's new emails. Totally unjustified. It turns out there were no new emails. They were all repeats of emails that had gone over.
It didn't take that long to go through. And he hadn't read them. No one had read them when he said that. That's just why it was
absurd.
And so in the case of North Carolina, back to there, now if Hillary Clinton has been doing much better in North Carolina than Democrats have done in the past, right? Certainly Obama also began to do better in North Carolina, right? Before that, North Carolina was not in any way, shape, or form a swing state. It was solidly red.
It is demographically changing over time.
Yeah. So now it really is. It's a swing state, and so Hillary Clinton could win it. I mean, for a while, I thought her numbers looked better in North Carolina. They didn't in some traditional swing states. By the way, that's still true today. I think her numbers there look better than her numbers in Ohio, which is traditionally one of the most stereotypical swing state. So if she surges and she wins there, then obviously Ross, as Ben pointed out, might be in. But if you hear that Ross is in, that means Hillary Clinton has won.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's almost certainly
right.
That's almost certainly true.
Now, before we go on to the next one, though, I want to say a couple of interesting facts about the fight to control the Senate, which, of course, and I was just tweeting about this, extremely important because we right now, as we've had to keep repeating, we have a Supreme Court that's 4-4, and we have indications from some prominent Republicans that they might have no interest, despite all of their rhetoric about saying that the voters should choose, that they may never fill that spot. Which, by the way, if we have a repeat of 2000, would be extremely interesting if it goes to a 4-4 split Supreme Court. What happens after that? Nobody actually knows in America. But obviously very important to gain control of the Senate. Now, one of the interesting things about this cycle is that Republicans hold 24 of the 34 seats that are up for re-election, which means that no matter what, this is a bad year for them. It also means that in future cycles, bad years are coming for Democrats.
Yeah, 2018 is a catastrophe for Democrats.
It's a catastrophe, yeah. So of the 10 seats that Democrats are defending, none are in states that were won by either John McCain or Mitt Romney. So that added on to that previous fact means this is a good year for Democrats. 9 of the GOP-held seats are in states that President Obama won in either 2008 or 2012. Still, though, the Democrats have, at the most recent estimation, a 50.7% chance of taking over, which means that despite the fact that this is a uniquely situated good cycle for them, there are other things that are dragging them down.
So I have a macro point I want to make about the Democrats once John reads all the numbers for you, and we are going to go a little quicker through them in a second. But in the meanwhile, I really got to tell you two quick things that I forgot to mention earlier in the hour. One is, a lot of you are wondering where the protest is going to be tonight. Protest/party. It's at Hillary Clinton's headquarters at Jacob Javits Center in New York. I want to, Jesus or Ja'Cory, if you guys, whoever's back there, have the map, pull that up. It's on 37th Street and 11th Avenue that people are meeting up at 8 o'clock Eastern. And then we're going to do meet and greets, we're going to do music, we're going to have a good time and demand that next time we have free and fair elections that Hillary Clinton not take big donor money. So that's on 37th Street and 11th Avenue. And in order to get updates as we go along, go to tytnetwork.com/get updates. And if that location changes at all, probably if it does, it'll be because of police presence. If it does, we will text you, okay? So if you're in New York, and I know a lot of you are, make sure that you sign up for tytnetwork.com/get updates.
Is that near Hudson Yards Park?
That's the thing that never happened, right?
No, it was there on the map.
Oh, okay, all right. And look, everybody share away, okay? We've got to have everybody sharing here. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you know how to share on Facebook, obviously, retweet on Twitter. And on YouTube, click the share button. You'll see how to share it on Facebook and Twitter. And you can also embed. You can send the link to your family and friends. Let's get this to be as large as possible. And look, some of you have written some great stuff. Real quick, Marble Rivera wrote in, without a doubt, this day has been very energetic and informative, thanks to Young Turks. And thank you for saying that, but that's exactly why it's insane. I'm maybe the most biased man in America in this regard. Insane to watch it anywhere but here, because why would you rather have it be drier?
Yeah.
Right? Where you have the same facts. In fact, you'll have more facts, because we can pull from all of the other news stations, and we will. Yeah. Once the poll results start coming in, which, by the way, the first one from Indiana comes in 27 minutes. Okay, we will have it as soon as the first other news organization has it. No, honestly. But that's funny. It is funny, but it actually gives us a huge advantage. ABC doesn't have it. They know NBC has it. They're like, we can't say it, it's NBC. We can't say it, it's NBC. Yeah, we can tell you. We can give you the full context.
And just for the record, I think mostly going to be looking at the New York Times. They were fantastic during the primaries and quick. And
but we will be looking at all of it.
And just from the hours where I haven't been on, but I've been watching, we have a day where we have all of us, obviously, some of the most common faces, and we have Jimmy and Steve and Brian and Aida and Kyle and Nomi and all these people like Sam and everything. That should be us more commonly in the future. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I love it. I love when we all come together. Yeah. And then you've got tweets like this, Joanne Orzechowski. Oh, I think I did that okay, John. Proud TYT member, thank you for streaming live for 12 hours straight today. The only election coverage worth watching. Hashtag I voted. Hashtag nasty woman.
Ooh.
I love it, Joanne. I love it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to give you as much as we can. You know our issues with resources. So that's why sometimes we got to hold our powder dry for big days like Election Day. Thank you for being with us. But you can make our powder wetter. Hey, how you doing, Chris?
This was Pete Rose kept doing this during the
Oh, Pete Rose?
Yeah.
I thought you were going for the Chris Christie look.
A little bit.
Make our powder drier. No, wetter. This is really awkward.
What?
Yeah.
TYT.
Hashtag get us wet by becoming a member today.
TYTnetwork.com/join. No, not moist. Join.
Okay.
Let's move away from
Okay,
this.
so
Now, back to dry. Dry center
I'm going to
races.
move through these faster. Cut me off when you want to. Some of the races that are most likely going to end in one way or the other. Illinois is the most likely to go for the Democrats right now, with Tammy Duckworth at about a 97% chance of winning that race.
Now, it should be Mark Kirk. He never should have had the seat in the first place. That's a Democratic seat. Should always be. Yeah.
Exactly. And he made the bad decision of, in one of their debates, he mocked her heritage. He gave a great apology afterward, but the damage by then was already done. And in most recent polls, she's up by 14 or 18 points. And it had been close before then to some extent.
What had he mocked?
He mocked her heritage.
Oh, her heritage. I thought
not her
something
hair.
about her hair. I'm like,
No, he might have said something about her
that
hair.
usually works really well for Republicans during
So
this
she
election.
talked about how her ancestors had served in the U.S. military since George Washington. But half of her family is white, the other half is Asian, right?
Thai?
Thai, yeah.
Yes.
And
Thank
so, but he doesn't realize half her family is white. So he's like, yeah, I'm sure it goes back to George Washington.
Yeah, they
Right.
came over from
And
Thailand to fight for Washington.
Yeah. Like, oh,
You idiot.
schmuck.
You idiot.
Right.
Okay.
It's surprising that hurt him as much
Yeah.
as it did.
By the way,
Well, no, it's Illinois. That's why. That's a very blue state. That's
Yeah.
why, as Ben pointed out, he never should have had the seat in the first place.
yeah. Also, this is an example of why politicians almost never go off script. Because things like that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, although
okay.
that he was headed for a loss anyway, but yes.
Yeah, probably, but it accelerated after that. Now, Marco Rubio, who said that he wasn't going to run again, then decided, I like being on TV, and I want to run again for the presidency in the future, is going up against Patrick Murphy.
I respect that.
It is nice to be on TV. So he is now at about an 89.3% chance of defeating Patrick Murphy, which a lot of people called when Patrick Murphy won the primary. Because for weeks now, every poll has been pro-Rubio, from +1 all the way up to +11.
Although Rubio, for whatever it's worth, when Rubio was compared to Grayson, he had an even bigger lead. I mean, maybe Grayson would have run a better race, but Rubio
Interesting.
coming back into the race tilted the race toward the Republicans.
Yeah.
So, look, Grayson got murdered on the whole family brouhaha, right? Let alone the hedge fund stuff, right? So at that point, in his race against Patrick Murphy turned out to be not close at all. Now, to what degree that's true, not true, hatchet job, I don't know. I don't want to get into it, right? I don't want to rehash that. But that's because that's not important. What's important is the macro picture, the overall picture. And the overall picture is, in the state of Florida, and this is a larger problem for the Democrats overall that we're going to discuss at the end, is that they keep running pro-establishment candidates thinking that this is a genius move.
Yeah.
But they're milquetoast. It's not an interesting move. You'd be 1,000 times better off running a populist candidate. It definitely doesn't have to be Grayson, but it has to be someone who's saying, hey, I'm going to look out for you. Instead, they keep on going to, I'm also going to look out for corporate interests, but not quite as much as the Republican.
Yeah.
And they keep losing because that's the inevitable result of that strategy.
And it was super fast. When we were in Miami for the Fusion show, we talked briefly about this, and I said, I know sometimes you just support the party, but this is a guy who came in, he was your senator, did jack shit for 6 years, did nothing. He and his supporters in his surrogates in the media could not come up with an accomplishment of his. Ran for president as soon as he could, said he wouldn't run again, and then once he wasn't going to be president, decides, I guess I'll be senator again. And for the people of Florida to be like, yes, he's our public servant. I want him. No, man, he's not your guy. He's not going to do any more this time around. He's still, once again, just sitting and waiting for the next chance that he can run to be the Republican nominee.
Yeah, it's a shame. Democrats pulled money out of Florida, I think, too early. There were a lot of mainstream Democrats who thought that the party abandoned Murphy much too quickly, and then they put money back in when they saw a poll came out. It was only down by 3 or 4 points, but it's probably too late. Unlike if Clinton wins North Carolina, as we said, there's a good chance that she carries Ross with her, especially if she wins by 3 or 4 points. Even if Clinton wins Florida by 3, 4, 5 points, it's unlikely that she'll carry Patrick Murphy with her.
Yeah.
And Rubio was beatable. But last thing on this is that his main advantage is not that he was so great for the state of Florida, as John points out, or anything like that. Name recognition.
Yeah.
And so that gives you a sense of why the hill that Bernie Sanders had to climb was so difficult. Because everyone in the country knows who Hillary Clinton is. She has like nearly 99% name recognition. Bernie Sanders had like 1% name recognition when he started.
Yeah.
So that is a Herculean task.
Yeah.
And he almost did it, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's why a guy like Marco Rubio, even though he's a do-nothing, clear, obvious, slimy politician, is going to win easily because he already has name recognition.
Yeah.
It is deeply frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we do have some competitive races as well. I'm pretending like we're just bopping back and forth. There's no rhyme or reason. But we're going to New Hampshire, which is going to be one of the most watched states for the presidential race. Also for the Senate, where you have Kelly Ayotte, a Republican, going against Maggie Hassan. Currently, Hassan has about a 53% chance of winning. The polls have bounced back and forth, with either leading by 2 or 3, almost cyclically at this point. Ayotte, throughout the past couple of months, has had you've seen this in a couple of races, actually. She's had to very carefully not support Donald Trump while not speaking out against him too much. She was more against him than some of the candidates we're going to talk about. But Trump being the nominee has made her chances significantly lower than they would have otherwise been.
Absolutely. And I think that she wasn't so careful. I think that, her flip-flopping was very, very transparent, and I think that a lot of voters got turned off by that, especially when it came to the question of whether or not she thought that Donald Trump was a good role model. Like, within the same debate, she flip-flopped on that issue, and I think it did hurt her.
Yeah, huge problem. Just answer that. Just say no.
Yeah, just say
no.
no.
Huge help if she'd said no during that, because then it wouldn't have been perceived, not so much as, I wouldn't necessarily call it flip-flopping, but calculating, which is almost worse.
Yeah.
And she seemed, and it's clearly hurt her. She's the candidate sort of most hurt, maybe Joe Heck, from being tied to Trump.
I would say, I predict that later tonight, Joe Heck will have been hurt more percentage-wise, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. So, first of all, Democratic candidate pronounced her name Maggie Hassan in order to avoid any association with Hassan Piker.
Understandable. She's got to carefully toe that line.
Yeah, she doesn't want to get trying to stuck answering questions about are you pro or against bro tip. So, anyway, in all seriousness, I can't stand Kelly Ayotte. The reason for that is because she's got such a pleasant face. So the mainstream media that focuses on nothing but trivialities and looks at the surface, they're like, Kelly Ayotte, what a wonderfully moderate senator from New Hampshire. No, she is among the top 3 warmongers in the United States Senate. She replaced Joe Lieberman in the triumvirate of Lindsey Graham and John McCain, and now it's Kelly Ayotte. There isn't a war that Kelly Ayotte hasn't fallen head over heels in love with. So, for those of you saying, oh, Hillary Clinton is too much of a warmonger, I hear you, brother. Yeah. Wait till you see Kelly Ayotte.
Yeah.
So she's in that, right. If they have the NASCAR, kind of jackets and they had their donors as they do, at least NASCAR is super honest about it. That's what I like about it, right? Most of her buttons would be defense contractors.
Yeah.
So some people are, more oil companies, some people are more pharmaceuticals. Kelly Ayotte is like, defense contractors, I'm right here, going once, going twice. So I would love for her to lose. And in New Hampshire, come on, New Hampshire, you could do better than that. Yeah. And right now, luckily, the last set of polls in New Hampshire showed a big trend in Hillary Clinton's direction before the right after the heart attack of a couple going in Trump's direction.
There hasn't been a lot of last-minute Senate polling, which makes it harder to know if it's likely to also help out.
Kelly Ayotte is enormously beatable. If the Democrats can't beat her, that's really sad.
Now, if we fly over to Missouri, Roy Blunt, the Republican, is about a 57% chance of beating Jason Kander. Jason Kander, I think we showed when it came out, he had one of the most memorable political ads of this cycle, where he's assembling a rifle from his time in the military, I believe he was a Marine, while blindfolded. What's interesting about this race is that he has a very good chance of winning Kander. I mean, it's likely to go with Roy Blunt, but he could win in a state that in the presidential race that's Trump land right there. And so you have a huge gap between the Senate and the presidential race.
Missouri has always had a peculiar tendency to elect, especially lately, Republicans in presidential elections, but consistently elects governors to the Senate, Claire McCaskill, governors to the Democrats to the Senate and Democrats to the governorship, statewide offices. Frequently.
Connecticut's like the opposite.
Yeah, they mix.
Yeah.
Even though, because Trump is ahead in Missouri by anywhere from 8 to 15 points.
Exactly,
it's not close.
Yeah. So even with that history, it's surprising that he's that close. Now, here's my theory as to why. Okay. So there's 2 parts to this, right? Now, knucklehead. It's not because they're stupid. I got to stop saying that. They get the same donations, right? So they think, okay, let's run conservative people in conservative states. Now, on the surface, you might think, oh, that's smart, right? Okay, you can't be as liberal in a state like Missouri as you would in a state like Rhode Island. Okay, all right, I get it. But liberal or conservative, how? And they say, let's run economically conservative people that are going to be pro-corporate, pro-business, pro-tax cuts, all that stuff, right? But people don't want that. They don't want it from the Republicans. They don't want it from the Democrats, as Trump has shown in some ways the rise of populism, et cetera. In this case of Kander, they did the opposite. And he did 2 things that are really interesting. One, by doing that gun ad, he showed, no, I'm more conservative socially. Now, I might not like that, okay? There's a twist to it, but I might not like that. But that is a more effective strategy in a red state, to be socially conservative rather than economically conservative.
Also, it stops you from immediately being sunk with, this guy's going to take away your guns.
That's right.
Nobody buys that after that ad.
And then he did a second thing within that same ad that was so strong. And then after he did that, he said, I'm for background checks. Because we've got to have some sort of sanity here. Obviously, I know how to handle a weapon, right? So, see, that's smart. Because you go, hey, I love my gun. Here it is. Mm-hmm. You think you can put it together better than I can, right? I served, I did all this. But guys, we got to be sane. And that's a strong politician. People love strong politicians. That's why he's got a decent shot at beating a guy he shouldn't even be in the race with.
Yeah.
So that's the right strategy.
I have a different theory as to why he's winning, but I'm going to need to see those photos again. So let's
let's put up.
Come on. Come on.
Come on.
Look, he looks like the Joker after he put his makeup on. Roy Blunt.
It's the Joker versus Domhnall Gleeson.
Right. It's the Joker versus a human being who's identifiable. And and look at that. He's
with
like
the young
literally
Turk style.
Roy Blunt.
Not too excited, but identifiable for sure.
Sure, right. It's okay. It's a serious job. Serious man for a serious job. Roy Blunt went to, when Ben Nelson left the Senate, Roy Blunt said, before you go, Ben, tell me who does your hair. I want that guy.
It always comes back to that.
Look at it. It's the fakest dude in the history. The smile's fake. The hair's fake. The eyebrows are fake. Everything is fake about that guy. Nothing could be more inauthentic about Roy Blunt. I am so excited about the possibility of Roy Blunt losing that it will offset little things like Marco Rubio winning.
Interesting.
It would just be so delightful to have Roy Blunt lose, because it really, as Cenk mentioned, about a month ago, it sort of seemed to, might have the timing wrong there. It kind of came out of nowhere where you were like, what's happening in Missouri? What's this in Missouri? Which makes up for, which you'll mention, just sort of massive Democratic underperformances in Ohio, where 9 months ago thought it was a great chance to pick up.
Okay, now we got to really speed up through the rest.
Okay. I think one of the most interesting ones, we alluded to this earlier. So if you go to Nevada, Catherine Cortez Masto against Joe Heck, the Republican. The Democrats had about a 60% chance of winning. Recent polls generally have her at +2, +3, although there are a few going in the Republicans' direction as well. Now, what's interesting is back in 2012, Dean Heller, the Republican, won by 1 point, even though Obama won the state by 6, which means that even if Hillary Clinton does overperform, if this one anecdote says anything, we don't know for sure that the Democrat will win the Senate. But I do think that this is perhaps going to be the senator who is most hurt by Donald Trump. That one, he stimulates young Nevadans and Hispanic voters to go out and vote against him. Also, the lack of a ground game when it's 2 points basically that separates them could be all it takes for him to be defeated. And if the early voting evidence that we have is any indication, it might be a bad night for Joe.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry, look, there are a lot of predictions about what's going to happen in battleground states like Nevada and Florida, but we'll see how it all plays out. I am delighted by the idea that Latinos will not only defeat Republican Senate candidates, but also defeat Trump, right? Yeah. That they're so angry with the type of rhetoric that he's used against them that they are now, motivated enough to go to the polls and speak out. We'll see.
So there's a lot of evidence that there is evidence. Mm-hmm. Let's not categorize it. There's evidence that Latinos were underpolled because the Latinos who do get polled are English speaking, and that the non-English speaking Latinos are, by very nature of telephone polling, underpolled. Yeah. The evidence in Nevada was anecdotal, except of who was in line. But we know the lines were significant, and we know Democrats turned out at a much greater rate. The anecdotal evidence was in Clark County, all those hotel workers, many of them Latino, voting late at night, from seasoned political observers there, like John Ralston, were that, hey, this seems to be a big Latino turnout. I think it helps that here's some nonsense punditry based on nothing. I like the fact that every state where there's a woman running as the Democrat, it just feels like might help a little. You're like, hey, I'm voting for a woman for president. I'm going to vote for a woman here in the Senate. So I like that. I like her name. I like her last name. And I just feel like, and I don't mean this pejoratively at all, but I mean, I feel like there is some chance that if Democrats are at 50-50 or 51-49 in the Senate and Hillary Clinton has been elected president, that one of the main storylines tomorrow is that literally every right-thinking person in this country, when they see a person of Latino origin or descent, needs to say a gigantic gracias. That may be the story that, my God, here's who put us over the top. Here's who came through. Because a lot of people who don't vote, I am just imagining, I don't know it, are saying, this time I know evil and I know hate and I know discrimination when I see it, and I'm going to stop this guy.
Well, ironically, Latinos might have built a wall between Trump and the White House.
That's ironic because he
And
wants
Joe
to
Heck's
build
going
a
to
wall.
pay for it.
No. Trump now complaining that he spent $100 million on this campaign and might lose, and it might be all wasted.
Yeah.
Turns out Latinos built a wall between Trump and the White House, and Trump paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, he didn't actually pay $100 million. He's just trying to make you think he spent more than he did. So really fast, if we go to Pennsylvania, Pat Toomey, the Republican, against Katie McGinty, the Democrat, Katie McGinty, at a little bit over 60% odds of winning. All of the recent polls over the past few weeks, a couple dozen polls have her up by 1 to 4. Obviously, this is a state that we know that Hillary Clinton is up by 3 points, maybe 4 points, which is less than a month ago. We also know there's no early voting, so we don't have this sort of Nevadan evidence to go on. If Hillary Clinton underperforms or if she overperforms, that's going to have consequences for Katie McGinty.
Yep.
Pat Toomey used to be considered wildly right-wing, 10, 12 years ago, and thought, we can't put an insane right-winger like that. Now, he's among the more moderate of the Republicans, and his position has not changed one iota.
Yeah.
It's because the Republican Party has become that insanely right-wing.
Yeah. Bit of good news, perhaps, if we go to Wisconsin. It looks like Russ Feingold has a slightly better than 80% chance of beating Ron Johnson. Although, so the polls generally have Feingold up by 2 points, by 3 points. The last poll, I believe, that was released by Marquette University, which is considered to be a very reputable pollster for polling Wisconsin, had it at a tie.
So
that's horrifying.
That.
But that, I believe, was before the Comey second bombshell.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So that's going to be a close one.
Ron Johnson has no business being in the United States Senate in any way.
Especially for Wisconsin.
Forget the greatness of Russ Feingold. Ron Johnson is an embarrassment as a United States Senator. He's an incredibly wealthy guy, self-funded his campaign, and still manages to be beholden to special interests. And Russ Feingold needs to get into the Senate if he's going to be the 2020 Democratic nominee for president.
That's a good point.
I wonder if that affected how much they helped him.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, he endorsed Hillary Clinton, so it's not like he was.
No, I know.
Yeah,
Come on,
sure.
Wisconsin. I'm really, really worried about that race. And
It would hurt.
It would hurt real bad if Feingold
it's a
lost.
sign because
look, then you'd have, if Feingold wins, then you have Sanders, Warren,
and Feingold.
Feingold. That is three unassailable liberals, let alone Sherrod Brown and Merkley in Oregon. Now we're getting somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But if you knock out Feingold, his career is done, and that's a damn
and we
shame.
hope Kamala Harris. So yeah, totally. And it's also like if Feingold doesn't win, it's a suggestion that this was a very bad night because even though the numbers got closer, the projections again by like 538, their understanding of the state, let alone everybody else who's projecting this. It's just this is a race Democrats should win. It should pick up, and Feingold should win. So
yeah, and remember, I should have said this when we were talking about how important it is that they take over the Senate. Obviously, having those people in the Senate is great. Having control of it makes Bernie Sanders the head of the Senate Finance Committee, puts him basically in charge of the federal budget on the Senate side. Incredibly important.
You might get a ninth Supreme Court justice sometime in the next 4 years.
Yes, exactly. And then finally, if we go to Indiana, Evan Bayh against Todd Young.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I believe that's on Evan Bayh's at a 31.5% chance.
Down from like 75 3 weeks ago. I mean, nobody has screwed up an election more than Evan Bayh. But Evan Bayh, I shouldn't be too critical. We have something in common. We've both spent as much time in Indiana. I go about as often as Evan Bayh.
Yeah, Evan Bayh, of course, became a lobbyist immediately thereafter, leaving the Senate.
The most recent poll, by the way, I don't remember how reputable it was, but the most recent poll has Todd Young up by 12. That's probably not.
Evan Bice screams smarmy fake politician with Wall Street's best interests in mind, and that is what he is.
And I feel like there was also one at 6. He's lost it. I think that race is over. And he was up 18 points. 18 points. Democrats thought they'd guaranteed a pickup when they were able to recruit to come back and run for his old seat. But he has a condo in Indianapolis, and he kept going to Indianapolis, and he'd stay in a hotel and bill taxpayers. It's just such stupid.
He's so unbearable.
Yeah.
And he's beloved by the establishment, beloved by Morning Joe, and that's exactly why he's going to lose. Okay, all right, we got to go. The main show, the regular show, coming up, and Michael Schur just sent me a note. He has been allowed into the building. He is at Trump headquarters. So we're going to have Jordan Chariton at Hillary Clinton headquarters, Michael Schur at Trump headquarters. Oh, my God, if Trump loses and Michael's there, he's going to get priceless footage. Okay, so we'll be right back. Stay right where you are. All right, well, the Young Turks special election day coverage, regular show, drop it. All right, we have somebody's lurking. Somebody's lurking. We have 1,000 things to tell you. I got promotions for you. I've got tweets for you. We've got a lot of stories for you guys from today. But we got to start with Ben Mankiewicz here and his board. Go.
Oh yeah. So first of all, a reminder: the board has been through it at TYT before. This is 2012. I don't know where 2008 went, but it's around. So this is the 2012 board. We got all of pull back a little bit there so we can get the full, or I'll raise it up there. So the blue numbers are states that we know Clinton's going to win below, and as they come in, we'll move them up.
Yeah.
Notice the
I have Hawaii in the toss-up category, but yeah.
You do? Notice, take it again, notice the asterisk on Washington. That's just because of that nonsense elector in Washington that she might only get two, potentially two, one definite and another there. And then Maine, there's the asterisk because there's another congressional district and another electoral vote there. You'll see the asterisks on the red states for Trump in Nebraska, where the same thing, there's a potential one electoral vote that could go to Clinton there. And then in the middle in green are all the toss-up states. And we have liberal use of toss-up states because we want to make it fun and dramatic. Yeah. And also you'll note that the green circle around Utah, the green circle everyone knows is meant to represent Evan McMullen.
Yeah, and
just to keep in mind that that's not going to go to Hillary, it's going to go to a Republican, but it might not go to that Republican.
Yeah, and note to self for future elections: green not a great color for the camera.
Oh, you know what? We can. By the way, by the time results start rolling in, I can do something about that. I can orange that up. I can black it up.
Interesting.
I like black,
but I'll need a moment.
So now, since you've got that up, let's go back and resolve the issue we started in hour one.
Oh, yeah, right.
Now, we've already gone through 5 hours. It feels like 5 minutes to me. I swear.
Really does.
Like, I feel like, what the hell, where did the 5 hours go? But luckily, don't worry, we've got 7 hours left. Okay.
At least.
And we've got a member stream going on at the same time, tytnetwork.com/join. So, Ben, my 6 swing states were Nevada, Colorado, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Florida. So you have them all? You have all the ones? So you have Michigan and Arizona and Georgia?
Ohio, yeah, I mean, I have Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, Iowa, New Hampshire, Maine, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and the 2 districts, one electoral vote in Maine, one in Nebraska.
So you even have Wisconsin and Minnesota, which is, come on.
It just means that we can take them off a more fun part of the board
also,
and give them to Hillary Clinton. But yeah, I got you. We could obviously move those over to Hillary Clinton right now if you want.
It's okay.
Trump
it's
has
okay.
campaigned in
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
he's campaigned there.
A substantial
Any state that vaguely, the loosest definition of swing state, which means Texas does not make it, but Arizona, Georgia, and if Arizona and Georgia make it, then Wisconsin and Minnesota also have to make it under that standard.
Really?
Yeah, and this election has been different than the ones that we've seen. I mean, look, let's keep it real. It's also very, very similar. Like Hawaii and Rhode Island are going to be blue by a freaking landslide. I saw this morning Trump's winning in Alabama by 43 points.
Okay. Yeah, and by the way, another state that could be considered on either side, I don't remember, I think I put New Mexico in the swing state category because there's a couple polls that only has her up by 3 points. So
she's at like an 80% chance, I think.
Yeah, I agree. But also there was a poll, 2 polls earlier. It's a tough state to poll. Alaska, oddly enough, super competitive. But then I saw a poll today. I think that he's up 14 in Alaska. So we have Alaska.
They're Republicans, obviously very conservative, but they're not really Trump Republicans up in Alaska, I don't think.
Well, I don't know how we know that, but okay.
That's my feeling.
I feel like you did research on it.
It's like New Hampshire.
Okay. So, but the reason I say it's weird is because sometimes she'll be closer in Texas than Trump is close in Minnesota, right? And North Carolina becomes more and more blue by the day.
South Carolina, you want to find a poll where Trump's ahead by 3 in South Carolina? You can find it by a real polling organization.
Look, the demographic advantage that Democrats have grows every single year, right?
No, it doesn't. That's what Republicans say. No, it doesn't. Does not.
And in fact,
it's like me and Jimmy arguing.
In fact, I have a friend who says, like, hey, whatever happened to that stupid demographic advantage? I thought the Republicans were supposed to have no chance in this election. Well, it looks like that demographic advantage is real, and that's why Hillary Clinton is now much closer to being president, much more, like I think she would have, if this was 8 years ago, the demographics of 8 years, I think we'd be in a lot of trouble. But 8 years from now, when North Carolina is solidly blue and Texas is teetering on the edge, and Georgia's slipping over into blue, and Georgia is slipping over into blue,
and Georgia,
and
not
Arizona,
a significant number of electoral votes.
And there are not equal and opposite states going red. It's not like, and Connecticut and Rhode Island go red. That is not happening, and it's not going to happen.
Except perhaps Ohio moving a bit from swinginess to
no, that's true.
Red.
Very fair point. And on an important state, too.
And the reason
but that's it, though. That's the only one I have on the board.
And the reason it doesn't, and it is because the demographics in Ohio aren't reflective of the country. The state has actually gotten slightly whiter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and by the way, so if you're a longtime Young Turks fan, if you're wondering if every show from now on Ben is going to have that board in front of his face, yes. Yes, this is the new look.
It's like Glenn Beck's chalkboard.
It was.
See the man behind the scenes. You see that?
Right,
running things.
The Jew behind the scenes
global
running things.
Special interest.
You're like the neighbor in Tool Time.
Totally.
That's the other way of looking at it, right? Okay, and finally, before we get on to the stories and the tweets and all that, let us note John Iadarolla's new hairstyle. It's been 5 hours. No one's noted it.
I noticed. I didn't say anything. I don't know we're supposed to say something.
Yeah. And it's David Beckhamish.
Yes.
I actually think it looks great.
I didn't think about that. David Beckham. People like him, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I mean, he's not a fencing star, so you wouldn't
shocked.
know. But
like, I posted a photo, and people, my head is this tiny in the photo. I'm like, how can you tell? This is literally my hair grew for a week. And instead of buzzing the whole thing, we just buzz the sides. That's the only difference.
Here's the thing about John. I hate to say this. It's a little hunky.
Oh, you think so?
I do.
Yeah, I feel like that's growing. Like that.
Yeah, totally. Like if you look at a picture of John from 5 years ago, I mean, no wonder nobody slept with him. Right.
Yeah, no.
Right. But like you look now and you think.
Now, 8 years ago, not so bad. I'd do 8 years ago, John.
Okay.
4 years ago.
Yeah, but like all of a sudden, Johnny Pie's a thing.
Johnny Pie's a thing, and he's like, you have to respect. He walks in the room. You gotta give him room.
Yeah.
See,
right.
I'm just waiting for the drop now.
No.
Okay,
no drop. Okay, I'll take it.
Okay,
Oh, look, you're gonna say
I'll take it.
10 or 15 stupid things in the next couple hours.
And there we go.
So we'll have plenty of opportunity. And by the way, Johnny Pie also living up to his other nickname, Johnny Tie, the only guy in the.
Right.
Even though I did poll the audience, Johnny Pie or Johnny Tie on Election Day, and 2 out of 3 said, "No, don't wear a tie, you moron."
But nonetheless,
and I did it anyway because I'm not a Democratic sort of individual.
That's right. And super last comment on John's looks, which we've apparently spent way too much time on. John looks more Italian. I mean, his last name is Idorola, remember, right? John looks more Italian in pictures. John looks like, I don't know what you look like on video, okay, or in person.
Yeah.
Every picture on Instagram, you look like the most Italian dude I have ever seen.
Interesting, thank you. Just to balance this out, because I have low self-esteem, so I have to do this. So I've been traveling a lot, flying a lot, and like you're a comedian, you fly a lot. Just jet lag is just, you're always tired. So all my pictures for several weeks on Instagram, people have been like, "Oh my God, John looks exhausted." And I was like, fine, I am exhausted. But we didn't go to the East Coast for this last episode. It was in Reno, and I slept a good 8 hours, and all the comments on today's photos are, "John looks really tired." And I'm like, this is literally just me. I'm not tired at all. This is what I look like.
John, if your hair
Thanks.
If your hair grows another half inch, I think you could be the guy who fights the next guy in Rocky.
Drago!
Okay.
Okay, I'll take
All
that.
right.
I like that movie.
Andy Hanane writes in, the whole world is following the election day, and we here in Budapest are watching TYT. I like them because they say it as it is. Okay, I love that. I love our international audience. I love our American audience too.
After this election, in addition to creating more of an online community with all progressives, we need to give more love to our international viewers. I have some ideas.
So with you, yeah. Like people say, hey, you guys should do an international show. I agree. Yeah. TYTnetwork.com/join. Give us the ability to do that. All right, Captain Picard has written in, and he said, get the boy off the bridge. No, okay, he said engage. No, he said fire. No, he didn't say any of that. He said, LOL, watching all this old GOP primary videos, I remember how I looked forward to TYT primary coverage as much as Game of Thrones episodes. That's it, we should all retire. That is as high a praise as you can get online. So, Captain Picard, and hats off to you, hair off to you as well.
They ended in a similar way, Red Wedding and Bernie not winning.
Do you have Trent, TRG19? Trent says my nickname should be Wilson, and he's showing the photo of just my eyes above the side.
Wilson.
Nice.
No, Wilson, I'm sorry, Wilson. I'm sorry. I hope I don't say that at the end of the night.
This is how much of a child I am, I guess. When he brought out that thing, that little prop, I'm excited to see it filled out.
Yeah,
it's totally fun. We get to write it ourselves.
Props are fun. Yeah. All right, last one. Derek H1029 says, I wish we had California ballot initiatives. Instead, we're voting to add hunting to the Indiana Constitution.
To the Constitution?
Now you got to realize in Indiana, you got to be able to hunt. Yeah, of course you could hunt in Indiana. Of course you can. You don't have to add that to the Constitution. All right, by the way, no, you partly wish you had our ballot initiatives. Which I hope we'll get a chance to talk about. We might literally run out of time on a 12-hour show, but I hope we talk about it later because we have some wonderful ones, including marijuana legalization. Today might be the day where we break their back. We break them like a boy, and marijuana becomes legal in too many places for them tonight. It's on 9 different states' ballot initiatives.
I voted against it.
Well, I was going to say, if it becomes...
He was high. He didn't know what it said.
I want it to be illegal. It's cooler.
It's cooler when it's illegal.
But they're going to be able to deliver it soon.
I had to get it delivered.
No, go ahead.
Really?
I give it to Jimmy. I'm not kidding. Where am I going to get my cool cred from now, right? It's like, that's my thing. It's subversive to smoke pot. Now, when Coors starts selling pot, when Budweiser has their own version of a joint, it's not going to be cool anymore.
You know what it's going to be called, Budweiser's version? Budweiser.
Yeah. Oh, Budweiser.
I've heard your show's very popular. I think you're going to be okay.
I've also, heroin.
Yeah.
I'll have to switch.
Yeah.
So in California, we could also abolish the death penalty today.
Let's do that. I voted for that.
Yes.
Yep. Or we could speed it up. You can do either.
That is also on the ballot.
61 is the pharma.
Yeah.
A ballot proposition 61. If you vote yes on that, it helps it helps bring reasonable pricing to pharmaceuticals in California.
Bernie was here just like 2 days ago speaking in favor of that.
Bernie's very pro 61. They have veterans groups, ubiquitous commercials all over the place. Every one of my videos, they have that veterans group saying vote against 61. But it turns out every veterans group that's opposed to 61 took money from the pharmaceutical industry.
No. I can't believe that. And we also have a prop here, Prop 59, to get money out of politics. I wish it had more force of law, but great, vote yes. You want to encourage people, vote yes.
Also, we could possibly finally ban plastic bags across the state.
No, and that's what I was going to get to, though. But you don't want.
No. But here's the weird thing: is this is how stupid ballot initiatives gotten. We might be able to ban plastic bags while also forcing porn stars to use plastic bags in the same
That's
day.
right. That's
Bang!
right. I actually disagreed with progressive positions 3 times on California ballots.
Which ones?
Which ones?
Yeah, we'll save it for the show.
Okay.
This is the show. This is the show.
Well, but when Anna's
We're
gonna
doing
go,
the show.
Anna's going to go through all the ballot initiatives. I thought we were just
Who's
talking.
having this much fun? Right now, Corey Lewandowski and Wolf Blitzer are looking at each other like this. Okay,
No,
you're not having
Wolf's
fun.
telling that elevator story. What are you talking about?
That's on CNN Online.
That's on their golden stream. Listen, what is the 3 progressive things you voted against? Just tell me, because I won't be here.
Okay, all right. Let me see if I
Where
can
would you
remember.
be?
I think that someo's going to replace me.
Because we'll keep rotating.
Yeah,
through
you'll
the-
be here at some point.
But I want to know.
Going home.
I always vote with the smokers, and I know a
No
lot
tax?
of no tax on the smokers. Okay, all the smokers in the studio are like, yes. Okay,
Yeah, I voted tax, but I think it's a reasonable argument to make.
I voted no on condoms. I've been voting no on condoms my whole life.
I don't think that's a progressive.
that's
not
not.
a progressive
Yeah.
position. Progressive
No.
position. Progressive
Fuck that.
position.
Fuck that
No, we
ballot
all voted
initiative.
no. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, but no, in a
Progressives
online,
say no to porno.
Yeah.
No to the condom.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
That is progressive.
But, okay, the progressive website that I saw was saying yes, make them wear condoms.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We also have to be consistent. I'm not going to force them to use something I won't use in my personal life.
Oh,
By the way,
you were
condoms.
making too many condom jokes.
Okay,
Wear
sorry,
condoms.
sorry.
You don't
Wear
have to
condoms.
wear
Yeah,
the condom, John, when you do that.
By the way, when are we going to vote on saran wrap? Dental wrap.
the dental dam.
Dental dam. Dental wrap.
Oh,
When are we going to vote on dental dam?
In porn?
Yeah. No, you got to wrap it up. You got to wrap it up with
why don't you
pork.
just put a picture of my mother next to the bed when you make me use a dental dam? Are you kidding me? I can't get a hard on with a dental. Anyway,
Be safe.
We've had
Be safe.
We've had one, I think, one genuine star of adult films come in and co-host some shows, and Nina Hartley. You've done interviews with her. She's very outspoken on Twitter to say no to 61. There was an ad yesterday that maintained that. I think was it 61? I might have the number.
61, 60.
That's
you're talking.
the
No,
61
61 is the
pharma.
healthcare thing. 62 is the condom one.
Yeah.
I thought
I think
62.
660 is
61
the
is
condom
definitely the Bernie Sanders healthcare one.
Right.
Vote yes.
60.
There's billboards.
60, right.
60 is the condom one.
So, and she was suggesting that it would give viewers the right to sue porn stars who they saw did not wear them. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but it was. But anyway, just that we have an occasional TYT host. She came on here for what the Flick did, Masters of Sex, which was really great to have her on. She's a very strong advocate for free speech in the country, and
Her and Sika.
but anyway, she's crusading against the law.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so,
And by the way, I probably should admit this on Instagram. I follow several porn stars, all against it.
Is that right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If freedom. Freedom isn't free. Okay.
It's not free.
Okay. Anyway, I could go on and on. But we have 18 ballot initiatives in California.
Too many.
That's too much.
Like, it's insane. We have 2 different initiatives on
Plastic bags.
grocery bags.
2 different
Yeah.
ones.
2 different ones. That's insane. It's
The
insane.
first one you're supposed to vote no, and the second one you're supposed
Yeah.
to vote yes.
And they
by
do
the
it
way,
on purpose
one-
to confuse you.
One
Yes.
is funded by the Progressive Bag Alliance. Which side is that on? The deceptive side.
Yeah, it's not the one that's on the
I
progressive
feel like
side.
I might have done that wrong, although I had very clear instructions. How long did it take you to vote?
A while.
5 minutes.
Longer than Trump, as you're going to see.
5 minutes?
I voted fast.
I was in there
Fast and
longer
loose.
than 20 minutes.
I just.
Oh, that's because I studied last night
I
for
studied.
like an
I
hour.
No, I
studied
studied
online.
right, but I had photos of the info but I still wanted to read the initial. Like I still was
yeah.
like, you know what? Let me make sure I was terrified that I'm like, am I going to vote wrong? Have I got the death penalty ones mixed up?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
Prop 59, the one money out of politics, the one I care. Well, I don't know about most because death penalty is so important, marijuana, yada. But anyway, I missed it. Like and I was like, wait, there was nothing in
So
there.
I
I literally like dabbed wrong. I was like, oh no, yes, I want money out of politics.
Just for
Yes.
that one. So I would vote. This is how long it took me to vote. By the time I got to 59, I was like, my wife's voting right next to me, and I'm like, I'm gonna vote no on this just to fuck Jack, right? and she was gone, and there was somebody else there.
And they're like, don't do that.
So you did not look over constantly and check your wife's.
No, I did
Trump.
not. I did not. I did not. There was like, where did the? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
I skipped the judges.
I
Yeah.
voted judges.
Did you vote for the? Did you know who they were?
No, we got some. We
vote
actually
based on
we
specialty.
got advice from a judge.
Really?
Oh, wow. Well, that seems biased.
So it seemed like I would always go with the one that would seem less of a, like a hard ass. But they all seemed, they were like, oh, gangs prosecutor, violent crimes prosecutor. They're all prosecutors. So I
No,
just
there were some.
honest,
There were some apparently good ones, but this was from a very sort of, whatever, a progressive judge who
Okay, I wish I would have known.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Let me know, is this bad? So usually I try to go by which is the more libby specialty to have, like a defense attorney as opposed to prosecutor.
defense attorney.
But sometimes they're both bad, and so I actually just voted to increase diversity, racial and gender
Oh,
diversity.
really? You are a lib. I thought
And
about
maybe
it
they're
in one
bad, I'm
case.
sorry.
What is that? So
I'll vote
you
for
just
the-
was
There were
randomly-
women, there was an Asian judge, there were Hispanic
that's the
judges.
way
You
I go.
voted for the Asian judge?
I don't remember, I think so.
No, I was tempted to be.
Hang'em Lee?
My God, that's not right.
I was tempted to vote for the Vietnamese judge because I was like, how many
Yeah, I
Vietnamese
think she's
judges do we have, right? But I was like, no, I don't know anything about the judges, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
okay.
I was irresponsible.
Yeah, and so I should have read up more like Ben did. Anyway, okay, so last two things before we get to the story.
I have by the way,
20 minutes in.
By the way, I have a video out. It's the Progressive Guide to the California Ballot Initiative.
Oh, really?
And so I have a video out right now up at the Jimmy Dore Show. What I did was I went to Jane Kim. She's endorsed by Bernie Sanders, so she broke down the propositions on her website. So I just went there.
Oh, by the way, we keep talking about California.
You were supposed to vote for the Vietnamese judge.
Oh, is that right?
She's one of the judges.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I.
Follow your live instinct.
If obviously most of you don't live in California, Wes Clark did a great video on TYT Politics about the most important ballot initiatives throughout the country. So go check that out on youtube.com/TYT Politics. Okay, we have a result in. I can't believe I haven't said it yet.
A result?
Hillary Clinton has won Guam.
Oh,
Okay.
as Guam goes.
So goes no electoral
Where-
college votes.
Well, do you know the expression for Guam? It's got one of the greatest sayings for any state or territory.
No, I don't.
Guam, where America's day begins.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, America's Day has begun with a Hillary Clinton victory. She won comfortably, 72% for Hillary Clinton. And Trump only got 24%. And then a socialist candidate got 4.22%, almost 5%. It's Emidio Solitisic.
I believe abortion completely banned in Guam.
Is that right? Well, if you had just voted for the socialists, we could have changed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super
Later, we will have, for members only, we'll be having a debate about whether you're pro Emidio or anti Emidio.
Well, Ben, shouldn't you update the board? Territory, come on.
Okay. I see you mess around with Guam. That happens to you. Okay. And finally, look, we've got over 40,000 viewers on right now at the same time.
Hello.
Which to give you guys a sense of context, about a year ago, I had a conversation with a guy who runs a very large platform whose whole point is to do live streaming. Obviously, you'll see, I don't want to give away the person, the name, the platform, etc.
Eric Schmidt.
Larry Page. No. His name rhymes with Buckerberg. Anyway, so they never had 40,000 concurrent viewers at any time for any show on their entire platform. Okay, so you guys are amazing, but can I see 100,000? Okay,
people
it's election night. You're crazy. It's election night.
Yeah.
You got to go tell everybody.
Is that view I see?
Is that view I see? Let us whisper of a view.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we get to 100,000, we're going to start giving away crazy stuff. We're giving away Edwin, our stage manager. Okay?
He's great. You'll love it.
And seriously, if we get to 100,000, which I understand is difficult, but we're going to give away 100 TYT caps. Okay?
They're good
These
hats.
are not even in the store. If you go to shoptyt.com, you'll get a lot of things. This one are not. This is a special edition. They're not even in the store, but we'll give away 100
By the way,
of these.
that hat has a special power that if you wear that and walk around whatever city you're in, people will fist bump you randomly.
They will.
I'm
not
joking.
kidding.
I'm
Because
not
they're like,
even
hey,
joking.
TYT, you watch TYT.
Yeah.
It happens to me all the time. You watch
Yeah.
TYT? Oh, shit, you
Yeah.
are TYT.
If you want to get through airport security faster, wear TYT gear.
Oh, the TSA guys.
Every TSA person watches
Everyone.
TYT.
Everyone.
So weird.
Yes.
higher percentage recognized from TSA.
I've had a guy who, after feeling me up, said, "I love the show, man."
He should have said it during.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Did he feel you with the back of his hands or the front?
I get a lot of.
To be fair,
I get a lot of what's with Jimmy from the TYT. But look, it's just a quality hat. It fits well on the head. It looks good. It's got a nice curve. It's got a low slope. It's one of the few products that Jenk didn't design, and it looks good. And if you get this one, it's actually been worn by me.
And we have exactly 100, so you might get this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so share away, man. Sharing is caring. Let's do a share package here. Share on Facebook, retweet on Twitter, share on YouTube, embed, send the link. Family, friends, Randy Gonzalez, send them to everybody. Let's get everybody here. We're super excited about the election. We're going to give you the results as soon as we have them, including Guam. And then finally, shoptyt.com does not have the hats, but it does have this super cool poster, which is also limited edition. We're doing right now called Defend the Land, Renewables, Not Pipelines. If you've got that, Jesus, let's see. There's only 50 posters signed by the artist, absent, and 2 posters are going to new members that sign up today. Oh, we're going to pick that randomly. Okay, tytnetwork.com/join to become a member. Portion of the proceeds go to the camp that's there, okay? And you can find out, we'll have a link so you can find out how to help the water protectors. And it's 10% off today, and $30 gets you free shipping. Okay, that's what I hear.
Just for fun, we actually have some actual election results.
Yeah, from Indiana?
From 3 states, Indiana, New Hampshire, and Kentucky, all with less than 1% of precincts reporting. So they're a little meaningless.
Here comes Bernie.
But they're all bad news. Let's start with Kentucky because we don't care.
Oh, Kentucky.
73-25 Trump.
Okay, have Kentucky. Who cares?
Second one we don't care
we
about,
love you in Kentucky.
Indiana. Don't care. 69-28.
Well, we care for the Senate.
We care for the Senate.
Well,
69-28. New Hampshire, again.
This is important.
It's an important one. Less than 1%. I'm sorry. That one actually not less than 1%. That 1%. 1% of the precincts, 53-41, Donald Trump.
Uh-oh.
Disaster.
Okay, the mood has immediately changed. Okay, so I told you. Okay, it's just 1%. Don't panic yet. Don't panic yet. Don't panic yet.
Let me see if I can get an
I keep
actual
saying to
hard
myself.
count of votes. Oh, you know what, dude? It's remove the panic.
Okay.
It's the leftover votes from Dixville Notch.
Oh. But didn't she win Dixville Notch?
No, Trump won it 32-25, so it's meaningless. 32-25.
Dixville Notch. Go fuck yourself.
You know what?
Yeah, you know
Because
what?
I was going to be. I
Notch?
didn't think they'd close. Trump is ahead 13,000, basically 13,000 to 4,000 in Indiana, which is and 10,000 to 4,000 in Kentucky.
Okay, as you know, limited early results.
Yeah.
And we kid around, but you know, I've talked about this on the show a million times. I love Kentucky. I've been there many times. And there's a lovely chocolate factory, a chocolate museum that I visited in Indiana. So I love this country. Let's just get less the red.
Okay. And Kentucky, for me, top 4 Commonwealth.
Okay, all right, let's do the stories. All right, let's do the first one. This one's really fun.
I don't even remember what they're about now.
Okay. I think they're about the election.
Okay, then let's talk about the election. Nobody respects women more than Donald Trump, but even Donald Trump has limits, and the limit is the door to where you vote. And so he was spying on his wife's ballot this morning. Let's take a look at video 10. Gotta love the slow-mo from JR.
There's nothing I like more than J.R. Jackson's slow-mo videos.
The only thing I like more is the SpongeBob SquarePants.
Can we do you mind if you bring back that video show one more time? Because I saw something interesting in it.
Yeah, here's my take on what I saw interesting, and then we'll take a look at it. I think he does the fake looking over at her, like I'm just looking at her, not a big deal, and then does the look down for a second and comes back up. Look, as a guy, I've done looks, okay? So you can tell he wanted to look at her paper, right? Yeah. But he was pretending to look at her before he dipped down. So here it is again.
So that one's fine. That's innocent, I think. It's so fast.
I think that it's hard to. It's really.
But
First
the
of all, I
second
just think
one-
what's interesting is that in this incredibly competitive election, that in New York, there's something called the dance party.
Yeah.
It's competitive.
His shoulder. That's hilarious.
He might have just been looking to see if she's done. That's what it occurred to.
Maybe.
Not buying it. There was a little dip of the eyes there. Little dip of
But
the
again,
eyes.
as I suggested, and I tweeted earlier today to Ann Coulter, I'm sure she's going to respond to me soon. I think if only Trump's family gets to vote, he wins. He's elected president 4-2.
Yeah.
Tiffany and Melania.
So since this is
They go the other way. Yeah.
Since this is an important topic, let's dive into it a little bit more, and then we're going to give you some great tweets on it. Okay. So what's the theory? There's a couple possible things. Is she voting for me? Make sure. The other is he went in there unprepared because he goes into everything unprepared.
Yeah.
Remember, it's not just the presidential election. There's a lot of things you vote on in every state. And I watched the whole 2-minute video, and before he does the look over, he's like,
Like, oh, shit, the ballot.
You think he knows the ballot?
he doesn't know, and of course he didn't ask, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And by the way, he's screwed because if he's copying off of Melania, he's just getting Michelle Obama's results anyway.
That was one of the tweets too. That's right.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. So you're thinking that's good. I like it. I like it. So what do you think? Is he checking to make sure that she's not voting for Hillary Clinton or cheating off of her?
I think he just doesn't know what to do. I think my hunch is he's never been to a polling station in his life. He's never voted. He doesn't know how it works. He doesn't know how to make the tabs fit in
He's
the
never
hooks.
voted.
He doesn't
No, he
vote.
doesn't
Of course he doesn't.
I
vote.
think it's separate. I
course,
don't think
that's
it's either of those. I don't think it's like he really thinks she's not going to vote for him. I think that this is just a symptom of the fact that he watches her every step, I bet he is constantly worried that she's going to cheat on him for a far better looking average man. Like a far more virile anybody else in the country. And so he probably watches her constantly. That's the problem. When you choose someone who's way out of your league, you're just plagued by fear and insecurity. And so he's checking in on her all the time.
And it's also the conservative projection. Since he's constantly cheating on her, as we found out through all those stories, he assumes, well, she must be doing likewise. I got to keep checking in on her. I got to keep checking in on her.
You know, they say that is the hell you create when you're a liar is that you now can't trust anybody else.
Yeah, well, I mean, welcome to Donald Trump's world. So I like that we have a lot of different theories on it. we couldn't settle it because everybody's got a different theory, but I think he was cheating. He was like, shit, what did she write? What did she write? I don't know what to write for these things. Is anybody going to find these things out, or can I draw a cartoon here?
So what do you
And
do?
he probably doesn't even know if it's
these,
secret.
Are any of these judges Muslim?
Or Mexican. He doesn't like those.
Yeah,
All right, so let's go to the tweets, which are funny.
Okay, this text is way too small for me to read, so if we could just bring it up. You're going to see this graphic 76, by the way. I know that we're hopping around. When you didn't open your textbook once the entire semester, but you know this test is the only thing that counts towards your final grade.
Funny. Good for BuzzFeed.
Wow, they get a lot of retweets. Okay, we can jump ahead.
Wow, they do get a lot of retweets.
Who am I supposed to vote for? Harambe. No, really. Smod? I don't know Smod. Whoever did this tweet is more tuned into popular culture than me.
Okay.
I think you're supposed to read them out loud, John. That's how
Yo, you want me to read all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Trump panicked and had to copy Melania's ballot. Now both are voting for Hillary.
You see who tweeted
Sort of
that?
what I was
That's from Daddy's Little Cycle.
Okay, good for him.
Melania didn't
thought
even
that was
vote.
Trump.
She just scrolled, help me on her.
Come on, that's great. That's
funny.
great.
That's
Pour
funny.
me coffee. Nice job for the win.
See, the problem with real Donald Trump copying Melania's ballot is that Melania copied it from Michelle
there you go.
Obama.
Yeah,
There you go.
there
Good
you
job. Oh, he got way more retweets than I would have. Well, she's an immigrant. That's true. He's just doing the hard work of poll watching, okay? Remember, election laws require us to respect the privacy of others. Yeah, they're married, so it doesn't matter, but you totally can't look. You can't look.
No, but it does matter. So that one was serious.
Hold on, stay on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought this was photoshopped at first, but apparently it's authentic. The Sun did it too.
No way!
Yeah. That's Eric, right? That's
Yeah.
Eric Trump.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
No
He
kidding.
also doesn't know what's on the ballot.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're all Trumps. They never prepare. So they're like, I don't know, Daddy gave me all the money. What the hell did I have to prepare for? I came out of the womb and I had up $200 million, right?
Yeah.
Congress? What's Congress?
He's like, well, hey,
Ground game?
Yeah.
what is this? What is this?
Right.
I see Dad's name, but then what are all these other names?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they expect that they'll just be handed like a white supremacist ballot, and they turn that in like Twitter, where they can just retweet bullshit all day long. No, you have to actually come up with something for yourself on Election Day.
Now, technically, I know nobody cares about this, but technically it is breaking the law to look at anyone else's vote.
Yeah.
Okay, so
voter fraud.
lock him up.
Voter fraud.
Lock him up. Could you imagine if Hillary Clinton arrests him for this after she wins? And she's like, wait, what was that chant again?
I have these fantasies of, a non-politicized FBI finding out that, like, Donald Trump's ties to Russia, or even Trump University, that somehow something actually criminal happened. And after all this locking up, that actually Donald Trump were arrested sometime in November of next year.
By the way, his strategy is not that dumb in this case. He actually has a number of legal violations that are real, like whether it's the abuse of the charity, which is super real, abuse of campaign finance laws where he was accepting donor money, and the list goes on and on. But since he did all the lock her up stuff, it'll seem like it was retribution if she locks him up.
He apparently violated the embargo in Cuba.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on and on, right? The only guy who might have the balls to do it is Schneiderman in New York. He might be like,
yes,
yeah, you want to call it political, call it whatever you like. This guy broke the law. I'm coming for.
Yeah.
Right? So, I don't know. We'll see. So your fantasy might not be that far off. Okay, I have an update before we move on to the next story. We've already broken 50,000.
Yay!
Damn! Can I see 100,000? 100 of these caps coming out to rent. If you share, by the way, what we're going to do afterwards on how we decide who's getting the caps is whoever shared. We're going to go through Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and look at who shared because we can do that. We have technology here. Okay, and then among the people who shared, we're going to give you 100 caps.
Yeah,
okay?
and be a power sharer. Share the stream directly, not just with your own followers, but directly at Libby celebrities so that they can share it. There's a lot of Lib celebrities like Young Turks.
Yeah, that's true.
Remind them we're streaming.
All right, hit the Lib celebrities. All right, and you know what? If encourage people to do this while you're watching the Young Turks today. You know, you can carry us with you if you're going somewhere. You can watch us on your phone. All right, what's next, John?
Next is actually the GOP insiders that I think you're going to present.
Oh yes, I'm going to present that.
Here,
okay.
you can take this if you want.
All right, that sounds good.
This is a looser show than normal.
Okay, yes, we prepared this in a hurry. All right, get off my ass. Okay. Donald Trump over here. Okay, all right, Eric Trump, looking in on my ballots. Okay, this story is about GOP insiders who now realize Trump's an idiot. I love this story. They're like, wait a minute, it turns out he didn't do any preparations for getting out the vote. Yeah, and that's what we told you. Okay, I mean, how are you surprised by this? He said after Iowa, that's the first caucus. It's so important. It's so important. He said on TV with no sense of shame that he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Like, I don't know what get out the vote was. What's get out the vote? I didn't know that. Yeah, it's in the title. You get out the vote so they can't go out and vote for you, right? He doesn't know one thing about this. He didn't bother preparing, even though he's running for the most important office in the country. So we told you all along his incompetence is what's going to do him in. And it turns out now the Republican Party's like, what the hell? The guy's incompetent. He didn't even prepare anything for it to drive his voters out to the polls. So here's a quote from the Examiner. The improvements, and it's a Republican strategist that they're quoting, the improvements the RNC made are good ones, he said, but I don't think anyone there thought that the entire ground operation would be dumped on them, and dumped on them pretty late in the election. This will be Trump's legacy. He thought he could rewrite the basics of a campaign. Yeah. No, but see, there's one thing wrong in that quote, though. No, this isn't some sort of like alternate strategy that Trump is using, like some sort of third-dimensional chess with a Jedi mind trick thrown in. No, he just didn't bother doing it. Because that's his whole life. His daddy gave him hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's been fumbling it ever since. Why do you think he went bankrupt 6 times? Yeah. Why do you think he built 3 casinos in Atlantic City at the same time, even though everyone said, hey, knucklehead, you're going to cannibalize your other casinos, and all of them went bankrupt? Because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he never prepares. There wasn't a strategy. He's just like, man, getting out the vote in a ground game, I don't know what that is. I don't want to. Anybody want to figure that out? I don't want to figure it out. Yeah. And one other thing that's really important. his ego blocks him from asking questions.
That's
So
what
if he
helped.
doesn't know what a ground game is, he can't ask because he's Mr. Trump and he knows everything. So if he says, "Hey guys, what's a ground game?" He looks like an idiot, right? So he doesn't ask.
He surrounds himself with advisors who are chosen primarily because they agree with him, they don't question him, and not because they have particular expertise.
That's right.
He
They're like,
has
"Oh,
yes
yes,
men."
Donald. Yes, Donald. You don't need a ground game. Ground game's
Yeah.
for losers."
I mean, Corey Lewandowski. I mean, that guy again. He's the kid from the wrong fraternity in Animal House.
Yeah.
And he hires him, and he becomes a top advisor. Still is clearly a top advisor. And Corey Lewandowski had the audacity this week to tweet that Katie Tur got a book deal, and he said that Katie Tur just used her job to get a book deal.
Oh, you used your job to get
on
a CNN deal.
I mean, it's the most. Yeah, and I just thought, no, she did her job and got a book deal. Like, that's a significant difference. Yeah.
Now,
but yeah, of course, he didn't even. I mean, but to not see the irony in that you used your job to get a job on CNN, but it just doesn't occur to these guys.
Now, I have done a little bit of research, and apparently the RNC's Get Out the Vote effort has been strong,
Sure, of
stronger
course,
than in the
they
past.
know.
I saw stats. I'm probably going to get them all wrong because I don't check anything. But in New Hampshire, they announced that they had knocked on 2 million doors, and apparently there are only about 600,000 doors in New Hampshire, which actually supposedly means that they've knocked on every door multiple times. So I apologize to the people in New Hampshire. It must be hell for you. These people are going to your place.
They would actually go inside the house and knock on bathroom doors, living room doors.
Bedroom doors, yeah.
Just knock on any door.
Yeah, so that'll help mitigate to some
Jimmy
extent.
Dore, they knocked on. The Morning Consult Politico exit poll today found that 62% of Americans said they were not contacted by either campaign, but 17% said they were contacted by the Clinton campaign. 8% said they were contacted by the Trump campaign.
16
That's a big
and 8?
gap.
17 and 8. So more
that's
than twice.
more than double.
Yeah.
So and there you have it. That's
Which, by the way, is heavily focused on just a few states,
Sorry,
which
and
means a
9%,
bigger percentage in each.
9%
swing
by
state.
both. So it's 26 for Clinton, 17 for Trump. Still a significant advantage.
Yeah. So about 150% rather than 200%. And by the way, this is from the Washington Examiner, and David Drucker, the writer. The Washington Examiner is more of a conservative publication. So this is not a bunch of liberals just saying "ha ha Trump." No, this is conservatives waking up and smelling the coffee and go, "Oh right, our candidate was a moron who didn't work hard enough to get this thing done," because they want him to win, right?
Yeah.
And they thought, "Oh, Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump." No, there's no Mr. Trump. And so the reality is now conservatives acknowledging what we've been saying all along. Oops. Yes, while the RNC did work hard, see, we don't like the RNC either. We got no love for them. But they at least do their jobs, and they worked hard. But the Trump team totally dropped the ball, and I like the part where they say, and it got dumped on them late. Like, they thought Trump must be doing something behind the scenes that we're not seeing.
He's spending so much money.
Right. No, he wasn't doing anything behind the scenes because he's a knucklehead and a loser.
Yeah, he tried to get a peek at Hillary Clinton's ground game, but she put her arm in front of it so you couldn't see it.
Yeah, it was, what's the ground game?
Moving on.
Okay, yep.
Okay. So if Trump does actually lose tonight, what will he take from this experience? Will he have enjoyed the chance to get to know the American people better and to make a positive change for conservatism in America? He doesn't appear to think so, according to his most recent appearance on Fox and Friends, which you're going to see in video 11.
You said many times, if I don't win, this is a total waste of time. Here we are, Election Day. We don't know who's going to win. Is that still how you feel?
Even your friend Bill O'Reilly said it's the greatest political phenomena in his lifetime. There's never been a movement. So they said, no, even if you don't win. I said, let me tell you, if I don't win, I will consider it a tremendous waste of time, energy, and money. I'm going to be,
Sure.
I will have spent over $100 million on my own campaign. But no, I will consider it, I will not consider it great if I don't win.
Nobody wants to lose. First of all, he didn't spend $100 million. He's lying about that. But that's a weird way to put it. That it would have just been a big waste. That's basically giving the finger to the people who've supported you.
Yeah.
It's the wrong thing to say, for sure.
It's just the wrong thing. You can feel it.
Yeah.
Think it.
And besides which, think about it. What you're supposed to say is, even if we lose, the fight goes on. Because it's not about me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about this movement. That's exactly what Bernie Sanders said, because he meant it, right? He's like, look, if it was about Bernie Sanders, he would have given up 40 years ago, right? I mean, it's been wall-to-wall losses for progressives for so long, but he kept on fighting because it's about the movement. It's about ideas that he passionately cares about. For Trump, there are no ideas he passionately cares about. There's hardly any idea up there. If you look inside Trump's brain, it has just one giant sign that says, glows Trump, Trump, Trump. So once the race is over, he's like, what do I care about any of you and the movement or ideology? I flip-flop on my opinions all the time. I don't have an ideology.
Right.
There is no movement. The movement's about me. If I lose, it's over.
And to go back to the sort of the bungler thing, like his inability to even when he has an opportunity to use it well, as you said when he opened the third casino and caused them all to fail, we strongly believe that he's going to try to set up some sort of media empire or something like that. Well, this undercuts that. You want to smoothly transition your massive amount of supporters, which he does have, over into watching your shows. But instead, it's just a big waste. It was a waste of time and energy. Who cares? I wasted my time.
Let me, because I saw something this morning. I read the transcript of that whole interview this morning, and it was fascinating because the questions were breathtakingly dumb. Like,
it is Fox and Friends.
Yeah, it is Fox and Friends. But so I was trying to find it again so I could read some of it to you. But Eric Wemple of the Washington Post has actually pointed it out about how dumb these interviews with Fox and Friends were. He said, whatever the case, now it's time to slow down and appreciate several of the questions that came Trump's way Tuesday morning in the last campaign 2016 mind meld between Trump and Fox and Friends. Enjoy. What is going through your mind right now out of everything you've accomplished, you've been through in your life? You've been front and center really for 40 years. Tell me about this day for Donald Trump. It's a good one.
Zinger.
A couple of weeks ago, it was revealed that part of Hillary Clinton's game plan was that to talk up the polls and make it seem like, show's over, no way you can win. Then, of course, the polls, for the most part right now, are too close to call.
No, they're
exactly. Not. Ultimately, though, do you think the polls that we've seen over the last week or two, because the pollsters aren't factoring in how many Democrats are going to be voting for you, and also just the gigantic number of Republicans who have turned out to see you, the enthusiasm level, do you think these things pollsters are getting wrong? I mean, again, there's wild misrepresentation of things that are happening. I'm not saying you have to call it over in any way for Hillary Clinton.
And just the basic premise that Hillary Clinton 2 weeks ago was talking up the polls to say that it's over, this has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton. No campaign says, oh, we got this in the bag, nobody needs to worry, because then your supporters don't turn out. That's such a stupid approach to politics, that they believe people, that they even think it's possible that a politician would have that. Shows that they don't understand how campaigns work.
Well, it is nice to see that the people at Fox and Friends have learned their lesson from the 2012 polling debacle.
Yeah. Let me hit you with two more. One of them's really quick. A lot of people love you because you're not the establishment and you're not the mainstream media. That was a question.
Right?
And then we appreciate you always interviewing with us. We've always asked Hillary Clinton to do the same thing. Every time we ask you, we ask her. We appreciate you being with us in the morning. So many of your voters are watching and watch Fox. Back in June of 2015, about a year and a half ago, that's when you made the announcement. Right over here, about a block away, you walked down this escalator in Trump Tower with your wife. When you see that video, so much has changed. You've experienced a lot of ups and downs. What do you think about? I mean, it's
rambling.
Again, it's like a question written by Trump's doctor.
Yeah.
It's just
since you're so fantastic, right. How do you answer for your fantasticness?
Like, you've been fantastic. Thanks for interviewing with us. You got to read your announcement right over here. You walked down an escalator. Your wife, she's super pretty. So, yeah,
it's embarrassing. Anyway, one last thing about this: Arsenio Hall. So let me explain. When about a month ago or so, the New York Times got the audio tape of a 5-hour interview that a biographer of Donald Trump had done just 2 years ago, and you can tell in the tapes, and he wrote a whole book about it. Like, the number one insecurity Donald Trump has is being called a loser. So now, I celebrated that, unsurprisingly, because I was like, I told you, that's his main, Achilles heel. I mean, he's got an Achilles body, okay? He's got a lot of flaws. But his main thing is like, oh, I don't want to be a loser, because secretly I know I am, right? And so the biographer says, anytime I ask him, you hear it in the tapes, like about anything related to winning and losing, like, losers, they're the worst. Nobody likes them. Nobody will even cover them. And he brought up Arsenio Hall out of nowhere. And the biographer's like, Arsenio Hall was very successful, had a hit TV show, was a pop culture phenomenon, came back, did other things. No, loser. Can't get his phone call returned. Can't make it on TV. He can't. Nobody wants him anymore. Nobody wants him anymore. You don't want that. You don't want that, right? And so that's what drives him. So that's why he gives that answer on Fox and Friends, because he thinks if I lose, oh no, nobody will call me anymore. I won't be able to get a TV job. I'll lose the spotlight, the thing, precious, and that's the thing that he craves the most. That's why he thinks, oh God, what if I lose?
Which is why also, I sort of 5% admire it because I think it's him being honest. Like he's actually revealing something about himself, whether it's intentional or not. Accidentally. Because what he should say to protect his need to be covered is, well, look, I've been saying that the system's rigged, the election's rigged, the media's rigged it, and so if I lose, we're going to look at it and maybe it was stolen from me, because then you're not a loser. That's why he's been advancing that in advance, is that then you were robbed. You didn't lose. And so for the next 5 years, he can go on TV saying, I had the election stolen from me and my supporters, and you can now watch us every day on Trump TV.
But sometimes he is not savvy enough to do that.
Yeah.
He set up that excuse, and so he should deliver it on a day like today, especially as the polls seem to be leaning against him. But instead, he can't help himself. And in fact, that was the ending of the New York Times article about that 5-hour interview. The biographer asked him, why don't you ever do introspection? Like, we've been talking a long time. It seems like you never looked inwards and tried to figure out. And he's like, he literally said, it's because I'm afraid what I might find out about myself. Wow. Oh
what?
My God. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
Okay.
This is therapy for him.
I know. So, and that's what you got here in this interview, which is, God, if I lose, then it was all a waste. It turns out after all this time, I am a loser.
He better lose.
Okay. All right. We got 5 minutes left. What's the next story?
Yes. Next was the Muslim American soldier.
Oh, I love that story. Can you hand it to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the story and here's the graphics.
Okay. Obviously, we put this together in a hurry today, but I love this, so I want to share it with you as quickly as we can. Okay. All right. Washington Post with a heartwarming story today. Earlier, as we were doing the live coverage of this election all day long, I talked about how I was going to explain the Judeo-Muslim heritage in America and Judeo-Muslim values. And I did not know about this gentleman. I read the story later in the day, okay? And it turns out it's exactly what I was talking about. So the Judeo-Muslim values that I'm referring to are when we stick together against religious intolerance. And that's what was brought out by Trump. So the silver lining in his ignorance and his hatred and all the things that he did was it brought a lot of people together. For example, Bernie Sanders got a larger Muslim vote than any candidate in history, I believe, if I've got that right from the primaries. That's my recollection of it. And he's Jewish, of course, right? And the Anti-Defamation League was among the first organizations to come out and said, no, you should not discriminate against Muslims like that. It is wrong to do religious intolerance. So when Trump talked about I'm banning all Muslims, etc., the ADL was the first folks out there saying, don't do it. That's a terrible idea. Discrimination is always a bad idea. So now a heartwarming story that fits in perfectly with that. An Orthodox Jewish immigrant from Hungary said that his name is Yosef Rapoport. He said he was dedicating his vote to Army Captain Humayun Khan, a Muslim American soldier whose family Donald Trump had attacked during the campaign. And he said, look, he was fighting for all the things that we care about, America, freedom, religious liberty, and Trump was attacking that. And he's like, you know how that story ends? That story ends with us, right? And so that's what we've been saying all along. And I just want to give you a couple of his quotes because I think they're so fantastic. He said about Trump going after Muslims, he said, that should be frightening to every religious person. When there's an attack on one religious group, it means my religious liberty is diminished. And then he went on to say, the attack on Muslim minorities causes great concern for me because we are in the same country. We are protected by the same rules. So there's an American who understands what this country is all about. There's a reason why we protect religious liberty. One, because we're decent human beings and we should protect one another. Okay. Two, because it might be us next. And so And if you think he's alone in the Jewish community, because if you turn on TV, sometimes the right-wingers make it seem like, oh, if you're pro-Israel, you're right-wing, you're Republican, the Democrats, oh, no way, they don't. Are you in? No way, it's not remotely true. Jewish Americans are among the most solidly Democratic voting groups in America and in American history. Right at this point, after African Americans, it's Jewish Americans. Do you know that in 2016, according to the polling done in October and all the way up to November 5th, right now among Jewish Americans, 75% are voting for Clinton, according to the polling. 75%. Only 17% for Trump. So when you hear right-wingers on TV pretending that the pro-Jewish position is some sort of right-wing position on more war or neoconservative positions or supporting hard right-wing Israeli positions like Netanyahu's, don't believe the hype. Now, they might have different views on internal Israeli politics, but as far as American politics is concerned, Jewish Americans say, no, we're in this case, Hillary Clinton. Overall, the Democratic Party have been solidly so. Now, Orthodox Jews do tend to vote a little bit more towards Republicans, but they're only 10% of Jews. But this guy is Orthodox. And he said, no, not on our watch. And he added one last thing. Yesterday, Ann Coulter talked about, hey, if your four grandparents rule, if only the people who had four grandparents born in this country could vote, then Trump would win in a 50-state landslide. First of all, it turns out not all of Trump's grandparents were born here. Oops. Okay. But Yosef Rappaport said that's literally the rule that they had in Hungary. And since a couple of my grandparents were not born in Hungary, we were so afraid they were going to ship us off to Poland where they had the concentration camps. So we stick together because this country was built on religious liberty, and we can't lose that. That's real values.
Because he's, real quick, running for the Senate in Massachusetts. Kurt Schilling, your story reminded me of Schilling on Jake Tapper, asking, he says to Tapper, I don't understand, and maybe this is the amateur non-politician in me, I don't understand how people of Jewish faith can back the Democratic Party, which over the last 50 years has been so clearly anti-Israel, so clearly anti-Jewish. I don't know what else would need to be done, said, or happen for people to understand that they don't. The Democratic Party is alive for Israel only because we have agreements in place to make them have to be.
By the way, that was partly done, so that's exactly the ignorance we're talking about. But that was partly done so that Kurt Schilling can tell everybody, hey, Jake Tapper's a Jew. That was so fucking dirty.
I didn't even know he was Jewish.
Okay, he said, hey, you're Jewish, right? Right? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, now we're doing this on TV.
One last thing, and so I think, like, I personally think we identify...
We gotta go. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay, we gotta take a quick break here, but we'll be right back. We still have 6 hours of coverage, so come right back in 2 minutes.
Polls are closing.
Yeah, we got news. Come right back.
I'm Jimmy McMillan. I represent the Renters Too Damn High Party. Now, I found this party over 10 years ago because people were playing a silly game. But today is a big day for our movement. I'm here today to address the issue. People can't afford to travel anywhere. They can't afford to go any place on the weekend. They're stuck at home. Why? Because the car rent is too damn high.
Car rent?
Yes, car rental fees.
Jimmy, you're changing this whole thing. It wasn't about car rent.
I'm not changing anything. You're just not listening.
Jimmy, get out of here.
Are you listening? Hit it. Rent is too damn high. My mustache haircut is too damn fly. I'm on a mission again to give the people my word. Car rental around here is too damn absurd.
Stop it. Now, Jimmy, this is crazy. This is supposed to be a political party. Did you sell out?
That's what you think.
Yeah.
We need 6 cents to change the game. To rent a car place to keep us sane. SIXT now on the scene. Where car rental prices are out of the scene. Cause rent is too damn high. I say the rent is too damn high. I'm Jimmy McMillan. Here's the key. I'm riding with sick. Come and ride with me. The rent is too damn high. I said the rent is too damn high. The rent is too damn high. I said the rent.
Any more questions? Not so fast.
Can we eat in here?
Damn it, they failed us. And if you're not angry about that, Michael, and any of you out there, then you're damn wrong. Because you should be angry. Young Turks.
But it was genuine. He was mad.
Cenk Uygur, known online as one of the Young Turks, isn't afraid to throw some punches.
3, 2, 1, fade up.
I just remember thinking, what is this guy's name?
Cenk the Turk Uygur.
What kind of TV station is this? The whole point is for me to yell and scream and tell you what I think.
It was right out of like Wayne's World.
This guy on this little rinky-dink website is speaking truth to power.
We've been averaging 600,000 views a day, beating most of the cable shows in America.
We're the largest online news show in the world.
We're celebrating our 1 billionth view.
Television, we're coming.
More politics ahead with Cenk Uygur.
He knew that the MSNBC opportunity was an experiment.
And fill and host beat CNN and headline news combined. At some point, they want to give me a show.
Every single year, that comes out of our paycheck. We put it in, and you're saying we were suckers.
When you, as a host, tells someone you're interviewing to shut up, that's going to raise a red flag.
That guy needed a tall glass of shut-up juice.
If President Obama's doing the wrong thing, I'm not going to tell you that he's doing the right thing so I can, quote, support him.
He says to me, you won't believe the meeting that I just had.
The head of MSNBC talked to me.
They want him off the air.
Cenk took an incredible risk.
We're supposed to challenge the government. That's the role of the media. The Democrats and the Republicans are here to screw you. And who on the air is saying it?
I wouldn't have done what he did.
That if I'm going to be a talk show host, I should be the biggest talk show host in the country. I don't think anyone else does it better. I don't think anyone's even close.
Before you know it, I'll be back on your TV doing a national show. I guarantee it.
Hey, Corey. Yeah? Want to be internet stars?
Not really.
Want to play Imagination?
Fuck yeah.
Sweet. Who do you want to be?
Anna Kasparian.
Again.
I just really connect with the character. You know, I have an insatiable hunger for information and truth. I care about the way politics run in our country. I already bought the heels. Mind taking a picture for the foot blogs?
That makes me Cenk then.
Cameras rolling.
Sound speeds.
Coming in at 5,
4,
3.
All right, back on the Young Turks election night coverage. Are you kidding me? We're halfway through. I feel like we just started. Polls are closed. Panic time. Okay. All right, first I got to tell you how you can watch, and then I'm going to tell you about the polls that have closed. And then we have a shooting, okay, at a polling station. So lots of dramatic news.
Near a polling
Near a polling station. Okay, members, you can check out the simultaneous coverage happening just for you guys. We've got this stream, and then we've got a second stream And of course, to join is tytnetwork.com/join. But then once you're there, tytnetwork.com/members-live. Okay, that's how you watch the second stream. You could double stream here, just don't cross them. You can check out the schedule for this, and I believe for the members-only stream as well at tytnetwork.com/members-schedule. Yes, that's got the annoying 2 S's in the middle, members schedule, okay? And it includes member interaction with Dave Kohler, Gigi Manoukian, quizzes with party guests about the primary. We just had Brian Undertaker, Ida Rodriguez there. They did a great segment. There's a poster giveaway about Dapple. And if you're not a member, remember tytnetwork.com/join. Okay, here are your poll closings. I'll show you the poster you could win in a second, which is great. Georgia just closed. Sorry, Georgia's done. It's done. Oh my God, who's going to win Georgia? Trump. Indiana, it's closed. It's closed. It's done. It's done. I'm sorry, it's done. They're kicking you out. They're kicking you out of the polling stations. Indiana's closed. Who's going to win it? Trump. But these are not called yet, by the way. I'll tell you when it's officially called. But we do have a Senate race there where Evan Bayh bungled it away, and he will likely lose, but it's not 100% set. Kentucky closed. They're kicking you out. They're kicking you out. Please clap. And
please clap.
Trump. Oh my God, Trump's got such a huge lead. He's going to win the first 3 states. Oh my God. South Carolina closed. First 4 states go to Trump. Jesus, Lord mercy. They're not called yet. They're not called yet. Just calm down. Okay, I'm telling you to calm down as I'm screaming. Here we go. The great state of Vermont is just closed. We're gonna bring Vermont home. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring it home. And Virginia. Okay. Now, all kidding aside, the one state that is super relevant and we will keep you updated on throughout this hour is Virginia. So the rest are solidly red, or in the case of Vermont, solidly blue. Virginia is one of the critical swing states. I don't have it in my top 6 because I thought Hillary Clinton's lead was sizable enough in Virginia that she was going to win it. But she must. If she loses Virginia, oh boy.
You'll notice Virginia.
Here we go to the board. Go to the board.
You'll notice Virginia's placement on this map. First of all, can we widen out this shot slightly? Or I'll hold it up, but that's a little awkward. Virginia, you'll notice they're in the black in the middle. We're officially calling it a swing state, but we're being generous with our swing state terms because we want dramatic moments.
Okay, we're being honest about it. We're being honest.
But obviously, a Trump win in Virginia, devastating.
Catastrophic.
As would a Trump win in Pennsylvania. We'll check to see if any of those states have been called. We'll have that information for you as soon as we can.
Yes. So the minute we have information from any of the news sources, we will scream. Okay. So it'll be subtle. The way we'll tell you is, oh my God, results are in Virginia. Okay. So that's now in 7:30. We've got poll closing times in North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia. North Carolina, Ohio, also swing states. Trump likely to win Ohio, but it's certainly not certain. Certainly not certain is a great term. And then North Carolina is actually in more dispute than Ohio is. So if Hillary Clinton wins North Carolina, it's over. It's over. Pack up. Keep watching for the next 6 hours. But, okay.
We have 3 states called.
They're called. We have calls. Go.
The state of Indiana.
Called.
11 electoral votes. Donald Trump.
He's winning 11-0. We're done for.
Trump from the outside scores. From the Commonwealth of Kentucky, he's got a 19-0 lead.
Well, you said Commonwealth, and you said from the outside for a second. I panicked that it was Virginia.
Or Pennsylvania.
I know, but Pennsylvania hasn't closed it.
So 19-0. But the comeback has already begun.
Oh, my God.
A 3-pointer from Burlington, Vermont, buried for Hillary Clinton. She's on the board. It's 19-3.
The home of Bernie Sanders. Does Bernie deliver? Always. Always. But right now, guys, it is panic time. We're losing 19-3. 19-3. Trump takes the early lead. But is that Clinton from behind? Here comes Hillary Clinton. I will say for the rest of the night until she takes the lead momentarily. She won't at the 7 o'clock hour.
No.
In the 7 o'clock hour, you can add Virginia to that list, we hope, but he will have the lead going into 7:30. He'll maintain the lead through 7:30. 8 o'clock is when we start yelling, here comes Hillary, although the first state on the board there is Alabama.
I have an unusual request that I don't think ever made on the air. I think I left my blue magic marker outside on the on the main bar. If somebody could grab my blue magic marker, that would be great.
Yes. Okay. we will effort that immediately. Okay.
Now, a lot of people don't know this, but the red-blue map originally made its appearance in 1976 on ABC, and it was actually switched. They had the blue was for the Republicans,
is that right?
And red was for the Democrats, and they based it off the Tories and the Labour Party in England. This is, I'm pretty sure all this is true.
So Jimmy laying down a lot of history lately. You know, after the post game yesterday, which a lot of people, a lot of the members really loved, which was great. So that was me, Ben, and Jimmy arguing a little bit. But I went back and checked out your Malcolm X clip on the Jimmy Dore show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that was great. It was great about the fox and the wolf that you talked about in the second hour of today as well. So yeah, no, Malcolm X, kind of a bright guy. But you know, there was an irony built into that, and then we'll get to the shooting. Is that he talked about how Lyndon Johnson is the fox, and they present you Barry Goldwater, who's the wolf, to scare you into voting for the fox, right? But you know, him and Martin Luther King, they also played that game. Okay, now it was for the right reasons, and it was not a fox as in a bad thing, right? But Malcolm X was the wolf, so you went, oh, Martin Luther King, I'll take Martin Luther King.
Oh,
okay.
I see what you're saying.
Do you see what I'm saying? And
yes.
so Malcolm X was...
You take the nice or non-violent black guy or the violent, scary black guy?
Yeah, so Malcolm X was even smarter than people realize because he was completely familiar with that concept, and he was actually playing three-dimensional chess.
Was he really doing that? Like, we know he was playing that game?
Look, that's my reading of it. I've read his autobiography. I've read a lot about Malcolm X. I'm not a scholar on it, obviously. I'm not like John Iadarola, who almost got a PhD. I mean, I'm still working on it, Jimmy.
He's working on it.
Yeah, and so,
you guys are the worst. I love the attacks on people in the company who aren't on the panel to defend themselves.
Sorry, Johnny Ty. Okay. Anyways, we were too nice to him earlier. We got to make up for it. But yeah, so that's an interesting strategy and one Malcolm X deployed as he was talking about it. So fascinating stuff. Okay, all right, the shooting.
All right, so we have a lot of election-related news, but something pretty terrible happened near a polling place in Azusa, California. There are early reports of an active shooter in Azusa, California. Now, as we report on this story, unfortunately, there are very few details as to whether or not police have this person in custody, but they did describe him as a bald, heavy white male who was heavily armed. Multiple people were shot and injured. We know that one person is dead, but it's uncertain as to whether or not the person who was killed was the shooter or if it was a victim. Now, this happened near a polling station. There were two polling places in the area, actually, the Memorial Park North Recreation Center and Dalton Elementary School. Both of those places were impacted by the shooting. People were forced to stay indoors and they were locked down. Also, Slauson Middle School, which was near the location of the police activity, was also placed on lockdown. We have this, image, actually we have a video of these kids. They're in school, they're sitting on the ground. I mean, it's a scary situation. Let's take a quick look at that.